Clause 7 of the bill proposes to amend Article 82, that is legislation on elections, to provide for Parliament to enact a legislation imposing sanctions on a political party that fails to ensure that the party's list of nominated candidates comply with the principle that not more than 1/3 of such candidates are of the same gender. This is to compel political parties to facilitate the actualization of the gender role in the electoral process from the nomination stage. Another clause that the bill seeks to amend is Clause 8, which proposes to amend Article 87. This is on electoral disputes. Well, I'll now hand you over to the live broadcasting. The Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Kenneth Lusaka, has just entered the chambers. Good afternoon. This is a live broadcast in partnership with Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit. Good afternoon.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Order number 1, communication from the chair. Order number 2, messages.
Okay, honorable senators, I have a message on the passage of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2021. I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order number 41, 3, and 4, I have received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage by the National Assembly of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2021. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 41.1 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2021 was considered and passed by the National Assembly without amendments on Tuesday, 23rd March 2021, and referred to the Senate for consideration on Wednesday, 24th March 2021, and whereas the Senate considered and passed the said bill with an amendment to the schedule on Tuesday, 13th April 2021, and referred it back to the National Assembly for consideration in accordance with the provisions of Article 112(1)(b) of the Constitution. Further, whereas the National Assembly considered and approved the Senate amendment to the schedule of the said bill without amendment on Wednesday, 28th April 2021, now, therefore, this concludes the bicameral consideration of the bill, and in accordance with the provisions of Article 112(2) and of the Constitution and Standing Order 141A of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I will hereby proceed to present the said bill to His Excellency the President for assent. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, second reading.
Senator Cheruiyot, you have 2 minutes. The records tell me something different.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll wrap up my thoughts. I was speaking to the paradox and the irony that is in this Constitution Amendment Bill, in that Article 3, Mr. Speaker, it speaks about a shared prosperity for this nation. Yet, if you move downwards to Article 50, it returns us back to 1965, Sessional Paper number 10, where back then it was allowed, Mr. Speaker, for people to imagine that you can pay more premium on people, but consider nothing in terms of the vast lands that this country has. Back then in 1965, that was allowed, but not anymore. Think about even a simple project, Mr. Speaker, like the Lake Turkana Wind Power in Marsabit County. That project generates billions of shillings to this country, more than some of these counties that are filled with people, but the only thing they give to Kenya is potatoes. So, Mr. Speaker, this attitude of disparaging and looking down on counties that are least populated, that we now have brought and want to put it as a constitutional principle. And I pointed out before we took a break, Mr. Speaker, that even the tabulation of this proposal is not possible. If you run it on an Excel sheet, it gives you something called the circular reference error. It turns out to 0, because the more you reduce from certain counties to add to others, that balance will never be achieved, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I'll conclude by saying the following. What are our options as a House, Mr. Speaker? I do not think this House lacks intelligent people to guide the country in terms of what to do with such a constitutional amendment bill. The only problem are the phone calls that keeps on coming, this thing called party position, and so many of these things that interfere with the independent thinking of members of this House. I can bet you, Mr. Speaker, that if you are to throw phones out of this House and give us 6 hours, as members of this House, we will give a document that will give prosperity to Kenya the way we have been dreaming about. Please, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with our colleagues, and I know that there are some of our colleagues that are at this point in time working on amendments to this particular document. If we get to that particular point, and I believe we will, let us support them so that we do something right and justful for the people of Kenya. Otherwise, we'll be left with no option but to reject it in total, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Rambu.
This part.
Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to contribute to this bill. The Speaker, I want to begin by saying, the Speaker, that a very important call has come through for all of us, as senators in this chamber. The Speaker, it is a call to make a choice between moving this country to confront the challenges that we face together, or profile this country as a patchwork of winning communities and losing communities, Mr. Speaker, and that this is not the first time that this call is coming through, Mr. Speaker. This call came through last year, And we demonstrated as a House that we have what it takes to put Kenya first and ensure a win-win outcome for purposes of the sharing of revenue among counties. The Speaker, I have taken a lot of time to go through both the report and the bill. And the Speaker, I want to begin my contribution on this confusion arising around the popular initiative as captured in Section 257 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I have heard very distinguished colleagues, most of them lawyers, including, and Madam Speaker, I would request that the Senator of Gitui be heard inside.
Let's consult in low tones. Order members. Let's consult in low tones.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I said I have had conversations among my colleagues on the matter of this being a popular initiative. And that, Mr. Speaker, no less than the chair of the co-chair of the Joint Committee went on record and said that the committee really agonized over whether really this was a popular initiative and how to deal with the bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to go on record that, Mr. Speaker, the body, the spirit, the mind, the soul of this document, the bill, is executive. That I must go on record. And that, Mr. Speaker, what has happened is that this bill has been clothed with a Wanjigo dress. When it speaks, you realize that's not Wanjigo's voice. It's a strong, heavy voice. This is an executive initiative. Let's just admit that and then process it as such. The Speaker, having said that, I want to say that the proponents of this bill, and the committee has captured it very well, I've said that some 29 or so counties should have additional constituencies, but an expert opinion from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics has brought evidence before the Joint Committee, and it is captured in the report, that 6 counties, including Meru, Kitui, Bungoma, Homa Bay, Kisii, and Nairobi City County, have been unjustifiably denied additional constituencies. The Speaker, that having been captured in the report as a submission by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the committee has taken the next bold step, and they have gone on record and said that the omission of constituencies and the allocation of those constituencies in the counties is unconstitutional. Mr. Speaker, I have a small challenge, Mr. Speaker. When the committee, in their report, tell us that we should go ahead and pass the bill. And my challenge is simple, Mr. Speaker. When the chairman of the co-chair of the Joint Committee stood here, he admitted that there are even typographical errors, reference errors. And I heard the co-chair, Mr. Speaker, to my dismay, asking and pleading to be allowed to harmonize the errors. And the question that I'm asking myself, Mr. Speaker, is who is supposed to give us the permission to do our work? Because, Mr. Speaker, the people of Kenya, under Article 1 of the Constitution, have delegated their legislative sovereignty and authority to us, the elected leaders. Yes, the people of Kenya, through collection of signatures and views, have said what it is that they want to be done on this document. But, Mr. Speaker, as a House of Parliament, and I'm very sure the executive must be very happy to hear senators and members of the National Assembly seeking permission from I don't know who to do their job. Mr. Speaker, we have a bill before us. The processing of the bill is captured both in the Constitution and in our own standing orders, Mr. Speaker. And I will propose that, Mr. Speaker, that we debate this bill with a very open mind of correcting the mistakes and the wrongs that have been committed in this bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to continue by saying that to the extent, the Speaker, and arguments have flown across here, some senators have said that they are more than senators of their counties. Others have said that their first recourse is to their counties. Mr. Speaker, I want to go on record and say that the only reason that I am here is because the great people of Kitui County gave me the mandate to represent them and their interests in this Senate. And so, Mr. Speaker, when the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the legal and legitimate body that is a custodian of population data, says that Kitui County should have been given an additional constituency, when the report of the Joint Justice and Legal Affairs Committee captures that in their final report, the Speaker, I will look very, very foolish, and I have no intention of looking foolish, to stand against such a verdict. The Speaker, I stand here to say that the second schedule of the bill, page 26, 27, and 28, the Speaker, creates unnecessary confusion, and as a House of Parliament, we should be able to expurge the second schedule from this bill and leave the IEBC to do the work of allocating constituencies in counties using the parameters as set out in the Constitution. Another thing, Mr. Speaker, that's a bit baffling about this bill is that the bill, Mr. Speaker, seeks to amend the Constitution 2010. A constitution that is leaving a constitution that we are using to govern this country. A bill seeks to amend the Constitution. But we are being told, Mr. Speaker, and I don't know who is saying this, that we cannot amend that bill that seeks to amend the Constitution. The Speaker, that sounds very, very absurd to me, and I want to go on record and say that to the extent, Mr. Speaker, that Schedule 2 continues to be part of this bill, that schedule that denies my county an extra constituency, to the extent that we don't have that extra constituency, Mr. Speaker, as the Senator of Kitui County, I will oppose this bill. Mr. Speaker, there is the issue of the the Kenya National Police Service Commission and the Office of the Inspector General of Police. The Speaker, some of these things are just self-explanatory. Article 245 and 246 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, establish and define the roles and responsibilities of both the National Police Service Commission and the Office of the Inspector General of Police. The Speaker, an attempt under Clause 66 and 67 of the proposed bill to transfer the roles and functions of the National Police Service Commission to the Office of the Inspector General of Police, the Speaker, it's an attempt to create a police state, Mr. Speaker, that you remove power and functions from a commission and you put it in the office of an individual, Mr. Speaker. To the extent that that matter, Mr. Speaker, remains in this bill, I have a problem with that. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the judiciary, and that has been ably canvassed by the legal scholars in this House, including the co-chair, Senator Omogeni. The Speaker, there exists a procedure to discipline judges in the judiciary. That procedure, Mr. Speaker, is clearly stated in the Constitution and includes the appointment of a tribunal when it comes to the removal of a judge from office, for whatever reason, Mr. Speaker. Now, this idea that we will now have a judiciary ombudsman appointed by the President, approved by the Senate, and that office has powers to remove, to dismiss a judge by passing a tribunal, as a Speaker, is a serious affront to the independence of the judiciary. As a Speaker, there will be need to harmonize this document to ensure, the Speaker, that much in as we want to change the Constitution to reflect the current needs and aspirations of the people of Kenya, the Speaker, it will not be done at the expense of whittling down the powers and responsibilities of certain arms of government, and, Mr. Speaker, enriching the powers and responsibilities of other arms of government. Mr. Speaker, the country is watching us today. Kenyans want to know at the end of the day, what is it that we are going to do to make their lives better through this bill? The initiative, Mr. Speaker, and I must go on record on this, the initiative, Mr. Speaker, could be noble. An initiative to expand the executive and create positions of authority and influence to ensure that no part of this country feels left out in government. It's a noble thing to do. The Speaker, the initiative of ensuring that we have 35% of revenues collected nationally shared among counties is a noble idea, Mr. Speaker. Only that we may need to do a lot more in terms of administrative and policy interventions to bake a bigger cake so that we have that 5% to share among counties. But it's a noble idea, Mr. Speaker. The idea about a World Development Fund, so that decisions on development of worlds is not a decision of the governor. It is legislated. That, Mr. Speaker, is a noble idea. Mr. Speaker, the only thing that I have a problem with is a situation where, Mr. Speaker, amidst all these very good things that we want to do, there seems to be some mischief in trying, Mr. Speaker, and this must be said as it is, to allocate constituencies in certain areas in this country to the disadvantage of certain other areas in this country. Mr. Speaker, the import of this bill is that we are going to have at least 40 new constituencies in Mount Kenya region. And there was no problem with that, Mr. Speaker. But seeing as it were that, Mr. Speaker, out of 70 constituencies, 40 of them are going into one region. And the rest of the country has got to grapple and share the remaining 30. Mr. Speaker, that is not right. And that's what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, it will be right that, Mr. Speaker, we allow the IEBC to use whatever parameters they are going to use to ensure that the distribution and the sharing and the allocation of these constituencies is acceptable across the board.
I'm just hearing a point of use your Takanata, you know how to catch my eye, eh? You don't shout.
Senator Kangata, Mr. Speaker.
Well,
so, Mr. Speaker,
is it a point of order? Okay. What's your point of order?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, is the Honorable Senator in order in saying that the vast majority of the constituencies are going to Mount Kenya region, whereas Nyeri is getting 0, Nyandara is getting 0. Yeah, no, you say that. Nyandara is getting 0, Nyeri is getting 0. Dharakanidi is getting 0, Murang'a is getting 1.
Order, Senator Kangata.
In comparison to places like
Yeah. Order, Senator Kangata. That sounds like a point of disturbance. Continue, Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for pointing out rightly that that was not a point of order. It's a point of disturbance. Mr. Speaker, if Senator Kangata does not know that Nyeri belongs to Mount Kenya region, then I pity the people of Murang'a. Really, I do. Because, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is, I'm saying it's a region, it's an entire region getting 40 constituencies. And Mr. Speaker, this matter is not contestable. It is not contestable, Mr. Speaker. It's on record, it is true that 40 new constituencies are being allocated to Mount Kenya region. That's a fact. Mr. Speaker, I need to conclude my submission.
What is your point of order, Senator Murkomen?
Hold my time.
Mr. Speaker, I know you had ruled Senator Kangata that it was a point of disturbance. But, Mr. Speaker, being a house of equity, is it in order for Senator Kio of Kitui County to, Mr. Speaker, even though he's making very good points, Mr. Speaker, and I'm the only person who has been stamping my feet to congratulate him for the same, to try to drive his debate, Mr. Speaker, to a direction of us versus them. When, Mr. Speaker, BBI, even in its principal objective, is to unite the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can Senator of Kitui make the case for Kitui without, Mr. Speaker, trying to disenfranchise or compare to any other region, Mr. Speaker?
That doesn't sound also like a point of order. That's also not a point of order. You are trying to push a cheeky point. Senator, conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your wisdom and for seeing these attempts, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I conclude this?
Let's have order. Let him conclude. Let him conclude.
Mr. Speaker, yes, I will advance the cause of my county, Kitui, but not in isolation, Mr. Speaker. We don't live in Ireland, we live among other counties. And I've made my point, Mr. Speaker. What I've said, Mr. Speaker, is that the role of the allocation of constituencies, once we have determined that we want to create 70 or 80 or 100 or 60 constituencies, the role of allocating those constituencies, Mr. Speaker, should revert to the IEBC. Mr. Speaker, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say that, Mr. Speaker, there is too loud consultation.
Let's consult in low tones. Honorable Senator's order.
Mr. Speaker, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that yes, this bill, the initial attempt at bringing this country together, Mr. Speaker, was a very, very noble attempt. How I pray, Mr. Speaker, that even as we debate and maybe conclude on this bill today, this country will be left a lot more united than when we started. And Mr. Speaker, the only way that we can do that is for every arm of government, including the legislature, to undertake its role and responsibility respectively and respecting, Mr. Speaker, the boundaries that establish responsibilities and roles for other arms of government. Mr. Speaker, this House, the Senate, has distinguished itself, Mr. Speaker, as a House that has been able to crack very, very difficult situations. Mr. Speaker, this situation that we face today is not any more difficult than the things that we have dealt with before and dealt with them very, very successfully. As a Speaker, with those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I say, I hope there will be an opportunity.
Order, senators, there's a lot of murmuring.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I say that I hope there will be an opportunity to be allowed to move amendments so that we can pass this bill. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, if that opportunity is not availed,
you are off. Your time is up. You are off. Senator, order. Senator Sakaja.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I start...
Order, senators. Order, senators. Order, senators. I don't know what is creating this excitement. What's your point of order, Senator Kajwang?
Mr. Speaker, I rise on a very important matter of health and a matter that affects all members in this House. Mr. Speaker, you have just seen the whip. The whip on the majority side has walked in with a welder's helmet, some glass kind of thing. Mr. Speaker, is that the right attire for this House? And is it fit to be part of this assembly today, Mr. Speaker?
Order, senators. Senator Matangi, I want to give you 1 minute to explain what you are wearing because it looks strange to the House.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the point of order by Senator Kajwang, and it's not that I've not been in the Juakali sector and done all manner of trade, including welding. But Mr. Speaker, this is a mask, Mr. Speaker, and if you look at the actual meaning of a mask, no, yes, it's a face shield, but it is also a mask. I mean, you know, for Mr. Speaker, just for the purposes of explaining what the purpose of the item is, it's a mask, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, now that I'm on the floor, Mr. Speaker, if you know that you give me an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, would you be kind enough?
I only gave you an opportunity to explain what you are wearing.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. But would you, if I seek your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, would you kindly allow me, because I came running, because I was hoping that I would find the Senator for Kitui on the floor, Mr. Speaker.
It was not, now that is not there.
Mr. Speaker, because this is a House of Records. This is a House of Records, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Senator.
We are debating the same bill, Mr. Speaker. We are debating, Mr. Speaker. This is the bill we are debating, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
And Mr. Speaker, the second schedule The second schedule to the bill, Mr. Speaker, is here.
Order, Senator.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wamatangi. Order, Senator Wamatangi. You will seek for an appropriate opportunity. Stand on a point of order, and I'll give you an opportunity. I gave you an opportunity to explain what you are wearing. You have even removed it. Senator Sakaja, proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll ask the team to add the volume because I can't hear. But before I proceed, Mr. Speaker, I will need your attention, sir. Mr. Speaker, the Leader of Majority is taking your attention, and I need your attention, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, I made a request on a matter of time. I made the request twice, and I need guidance before I proceed to know how much time I wanted. I requested for at least 40, because I have issues, the general issues in the report that I want to talk about, but also because I had a minority report that might take more time to explain, and I want to explain it systematically, Mr. Speaker. So that is my kind request for guidance.
Okay, order members. Maybe I can also use this opportunity to make this announcement that I see a lot of interest, and this is an important matter that we are discussing. And from the look of things, it's not good to push ourselves too hard. So that by the time we're even voting, people are tired. So I'll allow everybody an opportunity to speak and direct that we'll gazette another day next week to be able to conclude the matter and be able to vote, because we also have other urgent matters that are coming our way. So I will give you an opportunity to discuss all this. Everybody will get an opportunity. Senator Sakaja, 30 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the outset, I want to mention that indeed this first amendment that we're considering today is a historic moment for our country. Mr. Speaker, the manner in which we process this as a House, Mr. Speaker, the Hansard of these deliberations, the reports of the committee, the discussions, the public participation, Mr. Speaker, will create a very important precedent for any future amendments to our Constitution by way of popular initiative, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know, historically there have been many opportunities, starting from 1963, where we had legal notice 718 of 1963, the Kenya Independence Order in Council, and many other opportunities every year, 64, 65, all the way until we culminated in what we have today, Mr. Speaker, as the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, this then becomes the first amendment of our Constitution, and Mr. Speaker, the need has been explained very well. I had the mover, I had the chair of the committee, and many members who spoke to really the need for building bridges and building cohesion in our country and creating an equitable society, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before going into the issues of the minority report, Mr. Speaker, let me just say broadly that I had earlier, and if I'm not wrong, I think my chair said that there's a matter of two bills.
Order, senators. There's some gatherings. Order, Senator from Marakwet and Kajiado. Let's listen to it. It's important. People listen to you when you talked. So let's also listen to them. Yes, Senator Sakaja.
Yeah, thereabout. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that I think one thing that we're emphatic about in the committee, and I'm glad my chair is here, was the issue of the bill. That there is one Constitution of Kenya amendment bill. There are no two bills. Mr. Speaker, what we found was that there were copies of the bill that had errors. And that is something that is at the discretion of this House to resolve. And Mr. Speaker, I've heard Senator Rambu saying that we can amend to sort out those errors, Mr. Speaker. And the question that arises then, and we consider this very well in our committee, is then what the threshold would be. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order 162 of standing orders, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, what's your point of order? Okay, there's a point of order there.
Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't want to interrupt Senator Sakaja, but I have interrupted him already. Mr. Speaker, is it in order that we can get a copy of the minority report? And because I can't see here, and number two, Mr. Speaker, I have not even finished requesting. Number two is that I have noticed the people who signed the minority report, majority of them are members of National Assembly. So I wanted to seek direction because I only saw Senator Sakaja and a few members of National Assembly who signed this report. So it is important that those clarifications are given. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Another point of order,
Mr. Speaker.
Sakaja has another point of order.
Mr. Speaker, is it in order for Senator Sakaja to mislead this House, Mr. Speaker, by saying that the copy of the bill that came to this House had some few errors? But he's saying that it's a copy. Mr. Speaker, if you take a document like this standing orders to a photocopier, there's no way a photocopier will insert errors, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, is in order to try to downplay a very weighty submission by a senior counsel, Okongo Omogeni, who has practiced law for many years, and who, Mr. Speaker, is a senior counsel and chair of the Legal Affairs Committee, who ably submitted that, Mr. Speaker, there is a problem in the bill that came to this House that required to be corrected, and there are glaring errors. Is it in order, Mr. Speaker, to mislead the House?
Senator Sakaja.
Thank you, Chair. I'm in order to give my opinion, and not just that, the emphatic resolution of the committee, and Senator Mogeni can confirm, the committee resolved, including at the press conference, that there is one bill. Mr. Speaker, allowing a discussion of different bills will bring first the issue of whether this is properly before us, because if 32 or 34 county assemblies looked at one bill and other county assemblies looked at another bill, it should not even be at this time. So what I'm saying is the deliberation of the committee found that there is one bill, but certain copies had errors. So yes, he's a senior counsel, but not in lexicography, Mr. Speaker. He's a senior counsel in law, but that was the finding of the committee, and it is in the report, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, that is not the essence of my minority report. And to Senator Cherargei, who has been a chair of a committee, even one member is a minority. And Mr. Speaker, at the time of signing and compiling my minority report, 6 members had signed on, now there are 10 members. And this morning, the co-chair of Senator Mogeni, Honorable Muturi Kigano, in the National Assembly, has actually said he supports the minority view. And he has mentioned that in the National Assembly. But that is neither here nor there, Mr. Speaker. Whether people disown a report or not, I think the issues that we're discussing are of utmost importance to us. Mr. Speaker, the first ground on which I took a different view as I go into the substance of the minority report, Mr. Speaker, and for the information of members, Senator Cherargei, if you look at our standing orders, when a report is taken,
what's your point of order?
Minority.
What's your point of order, Senator?
Yes, Chair, I seek your direction.
I get him first. Okay, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honorable Senator for Nairobi has said a very strong point that we seek your directions on. He has said that some members signed both the minority and the majority report. Mr. Speaker, is that a legal and a correct parliamentary procedure where you have members who are signing minority, majority, which reports conflict? Thank you.
What's your point of order, Senator Wetangula? Order, Senator Murkomen.
Wapi sanitizer?
Sanitizer, yeah.
It hasn't been used. Mr. Speaker, I regret interfering with the thought process of my distinguished nephew, who is not even listening. Mr. Speaker, yesterday a member raised an issue on the floor, and you directed, and rightly so, as to whether we are debating the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, was it today, or the report of the committee? And it was, I think it was Rose Nyamunga, yes. And he ruled very clearly and rightly so, both in law and in fact, that we are debating the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill. This House is not debating any report, majority or minority. The purpose of the report, you can only make reference to it in relation to clauses of the bill. You cannot start debating a matter that is not before the House. Reports of committees, Mr. Speaker, through precedents, usage, and the standing orders themselves on bills inform and assist the bill in a manner in which it's debated, and if it's an amendable bill, then the report of the committee can propose amendments to the bill. But we cannot, in the process of debating the bill, then cleverly disguise the debate and start debating a report of the committee that is not before the House.
Chair, why don't we let him proceed? But that's the correct position.
Chair.
Senator Murkomen,
Chair, if members are patient.
Yeah, okay, it's a point of.
Mr. Speaker, Senator Wetangula has raised a very, very fundamental issue, Mr. Speaker, and I had not even seen it from that angle. The fundamental question here is that we are neither discussing the majority or minority report.
Yes, that's
yeah? Mr. Speaker, Senator Sakaja has risen under the pretext, ostensibly, Mr. Speaker, to move a minority report. Mr. Speaker, there was no majority report that was moved. What was moved was the bill. And all the debaters in the chambers, Mr. Speaker, are debating based on, after reading the report as a whole, together with the dissenting or additional arguments made by Senator Sakaja in the committee. Mr. Speaker, if you allow this method to proceed, I foresee danger in future in terms of procedure. Members will be going to their committees, Mr. Speaker, during making of bills. Then when they come back, they agree with the bills, and 2 or 3 people don't agree with a few things. They write a report. And when they come to the chambers here, the move of the bill, whether the majority leader or the leader of the committee or the chair of the committee will move the bill. And then, Mr. Speaker, some other person will allocate themselves 1 hour in the pretext, Mr. Speaker, that they have a minority report, so that, Mr. Speaker, they have an undue advantage.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, do you see the danger that I'm thinking?
Okay, Senator, Senator Sakaja.
Chair, I'm very clear.
Order, Senator Sakaja.
Chair, I'm very clear.
Listen to the direction I want to give. We are discussing a bill, just like I stated in my earlier ruling. So stick to that.
Chair, I am discussing the bill, and I'm giving my opinion, which has also been expressed in a minority report. There is no majority report that was moved. That is not lost upon us. But I expressed my views on the bill in a minority report that is allowed in our standing orders. So, Mr. Speaker, is the direction that I don't refer to anything I said in the minority report. No one has said that I wish to move a minority report, but my opinions on the bill, on certain sections, and I'm going to quote the sections of the bill, are also expressed within the minority report. So I didn't stand, Senator Wetangula, I did not stand to say that I hereby want to move that this House adopts any report. The House is not adopting any report. The report by the Chair of Justice Committee was tabled in the House to inform us. And it will be of value to members, and members have asked, I think a few members have asked before I've spoken, that they would also like to be informed on what the thinking was in the minority within the context of the bill, Mr. Speaker. So I don't think there's any need to prevaricate on that. And let me just go into it and why I took a different view on certain aspects, Mr. Speaker. And also, Mr. Speaker, I just want to point out, because somebody has said, I think it is Senator Kangata, that there are people who signed both reports. Mr. Speaker, that was guided, and if you look at the report, senators, where there's been a signature on the main report, and I'll give my example, We accept the entirety of the report with exception. And it is noted, there's a disclaimer, that apart from paragraph 557, we support the resolution to pass this bill, and we support every other finding of the committee with exception to that particular section, Mr. Speaker. And because of time, because I would go from clause 1 to the end, I think it is only efficient that I focus on the areas where I dissented on that position, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Ledama, there's a disclaimer. You need to look at it. The first issue, which I have taken issue with, and please advise my friend to stop debating with me on the floor, is that, Mr. Speaker, on the view regarding the proposed distribution of additional 70 constituencies among the counties, Mr. Speaker, I held that, and I still very emphatically and strongly hold that the pronouncement by the committee that the schedule is unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker, is really wrong. It goes too far. That it was not for us first to determine the constitutionality of it, Mr. Speaker, because, and Senator Wetangula raised a very important point yesterday, that by the time the Speaker has referred a bill to a committee, the Speaker has seen that it is unconstitutional. It is constitutional. We cannot be in this House processing something that we have all agreed then is unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker. But beyond that, Mr. Speaker, the issues raised, and I've had the contributions, were really of a technical and drafting nature, but not of substance. Mr. Speaker, the essence of a popular initiative is the substance of the decision that Kenyans are being asked to take. That is the essence of a popular initiative. In fact, in 257 it says it could be in form of a general suggestion that then these houses are supposed to facilitate that Kenyan to draft it, or IBC to draft it into law. So if the intention of the Kenyan, Wanjiku, who has gone and collected signatures and gone to 24 counties is clear, you cannot say then that the suggestion is unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker. And I will explain, and I will give an opinion. Mr. Speaker, within the report, the committee has stated, and this is something that has happened in various different jurisdictions, that, Mr. Speaker, and I hold, that the power to amend a constitution is what we call constituted power, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is different from constituent power, and is not the power to destroy the system created by a constitution. And I will explain. Parliament cannot usurp the sovereign power of an individual Kenyan or groups of Kenyans to actually exercise their sovereignty as per Article 1 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Article 1 of our Constitution is very clear. It says that all sovereign power belongs to the people, and the people can exercise it directly or in accordance with the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a plebiscite or a referendum is one of the events when the sovereign do what we call direct exercise of their sovereignty, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there have been many different discussions of this, even in our country. If you look at the CKRC, the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission, in its final report they stated that the purpose of including that Article 1 in our Constitution was to acknowledge the Constitution and the fact that ultimately the Constitution is a product of and must serve the aspirations of the people. Mr. Speaker, in Njoya versus Attorney General, the court considered that issue of constituent power, and it said that, and Justice Ringera, and I will quote him, Mr. Speaker, Justice Ringera said, the sovereignty of the people necessarily beckons that they have a constituent power, the power to constitute and or reconstitute, as the case may be, the framework of their government. That power is with the people. That power is a primordial one. Mr. Speaker, it is a basis for the creation of the Constitution, and it can therefore not be granted or referred to by the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Professor Nwabwezi, Mr. Speaker, in his book, Ideas and Facts in Constitution Making, he says, he summarizes what I'm calling constituent power as the authority to approve and adopt a constitution. And he says, the notion of the people as a constituent power is only an integral part of the wider concept of the people as a repository of the totality of a country's sovereignty, Mr. Speaker. Constitutional power being the crowning point of sovereignty. So there's only one case that was referred to in this report, if you look at it. And that case that was referred to, where the issue of constitutionality arises, was a case in India. Mr. Speaker, in this case, which is Bharati versus State of Kerala, Minerva Mills Limited versus Union of India, the courts held, and that's another one, that and that's what the chairman is saying, that the courts can then declare later that this schedule is unconstitutional, but they held that they can only declare that amendment of the Constitution unconstitutional if it interferes with the basic structure of the Constitution, meaning that the people through a popular initiative can decide to amend anything so long as they do not go to what we call the basic structure of our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, if you look at further to that, and the committee didn't note that, the doctrine of basic structure, the Supreme Court, again in the same jurisdiction, yeah, I think it was Justice Kana, he went over and even described what within a constitution is called basic structure. And basic structure of the Constitution, which cannot be amended, Mr. Speaker, and there's also the theory of unamendability, include areas like supremacy of the Constitution. You cannot collect signatures and go around the country and say that now you're passing an amendment to remove the supremacy of the Constitution. Number 2, the rule of law. Number 3, the principle of separation of powers. Number 4, the objects and principles of a Constitution. Number 5, judicial review, things like federalism, devolution. Those are basic structure things. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans coming together from wherever to say that they want more constituencies and to say where they want it does not in any way touch the basic structure of our Constitution and cannot therefore be stated to be unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker.
What's the point of order, Senator Linturi?
Mr. Speaker, I rarely interrupt the senators when they are debating, and especially on such a critical, important bill that is before in the House. But Mr. Speaker, is it in order for Senator Sakaja to mislead this House, Mr. Speaker, that the Kenyan people, through the MBI initiative, went and made requests, recommendations that they want extra constituencies, Mr. Speaker? When you look at the objects, the page on the memorandum and objects, the bill itself of the BBI bill says the issues that will inform constitutional change will be the views from the public. I want him to tell us which constituency, which county, who in particular as a participant in the BBI processes that proposed the 70 constituencies for addition. Mr. Speaker, whether the first bill that was introduced or report at Bomas, whether that report and any proposal on increase, okay, Mr. Speaker, because that's misleading.
Chair, I will gladly do so. And I'd like Senator Bidika to listen carefully. Mr. Speaker, if you look at Article 257, all the processes from the setting up of a BBI secretariat to the gazetting of a task force to meeting in Bomas to meeting where not, going to Naivasha with MPs are strangers to the process of popular initiative. Because, Mr. Speaker, the first document that is introduced in a popular initiative is the document that is gazetted by the promoters. The document that the promoters gazette in 257.4 and 257.5 that create a draft bill becomes the first document. There is no requirement in our law for a popular initiative, a promoter Kenyan, to conduct even any public participation before drafting a constitutional amendment. Mr. Speaker, I can decide with Ledama to draft a proposal to create 100 constituencies in Narok, so long as I get 1 million signatures. And after that 1 million signatures, thereafter, I go to 24 counties, and then public participation is done, I have the right. But I would like, Mr. Speaker, for anyone, and I challenge anyone, including my chair, senior counsel, anyone, because I've seen his movement.
I can see he's already...
Yes, I challenge anyone to show me...
Yes, to intervene.
Chairman, I challenge, just let me finish kindly. Okay. I challenge anyone to show me where there is a legal requirement before the publishing of a draft bill by a promoter of a popular initiative to have conducted public participation, Chair.
Senator Mogeni.
Anyone.
Mr. Speaker, I rarely rise to raise points of order, but I cannot remain on my seat when Senator Sakaja wants to mislead the entire country. I want to refer my good friend Senator of Nairobi, to the provisions of Article 10 of the Constitution, which has the national values and principles of governance. Mr. Speaker, if you read Sub-Article 2, it says the national values and principles of governance include A, patriotism, national unity, sharing, the rule of law, democracy, and I want to underline the last one, participation of the people. Participation of the people. Now, if you go to Sub-Article 1, and that's very important, Senator Sakaja, it says, the national values and principles of governance in this article bind all state organs, state officers, public officers, and I want to emphasize the last one, and all persons, whenever any of them, in Sub-Article 2, enacts, applies, interprets any law. That's very, very important. And then the other one, Mr. Speaker, is if you are implementing any public policy decisions, you must have public participation.
Chair, I'm very happy that, Speaker, I'm very happy that Chair of the committee has not shown me any provision that demands for a sponsor of a public initiative before publishing the bill. Mr. Speaker, what is talking about the principles of national governance in Article 10? Once the draft bill has, you don't have to shout, once the draft bill, Mr. Speaker, has been published, there is then, it is the mandate or the load or the burden to conduct public participation then rests with this institution. And that is why we did public participation.
Why are you being very nomadic? This is not all over. Take your seat and okay.
Mr. Speaker, that is why we conducted public participation. County assemblies conducted public participation on a document presented by Kenyans. But to say that for the Kenyans, before they presented a document, to have conducted public participation, Mr. Speaker, any ordinary Kenyan can exercise their sovereignty in Article 1 and propose a popular initiative. Who is going to fund them to conduct participation? But once they've drafted a bill, or once they've given a general suggestion to the IEBC, then the institutions, once it's been published, are the ones mandated. So I think we're saying the same thing. It's not about before it is published. Mr. Speaker, allow me to just to go on because of time. I stated that the issue of basic structure, where you create what you call an amendability, the only part that you can prevent anybody from amending is what affects the basic structure of the Constitution, and that basic structure, Mr. Speaker, is defined, and there is precedence in that Supreme Court, Justice Khanna, Mr. Speaker, in Bharati versus State of Kerala, and he said that then those are the constitutive elements. Even if you collect 10 million signatures, and you go to all the counties and say we want to amend the Constitution to get rid of, this part of Kenya, you cannot amend the Constitution like that. It's not that everything can be changed. But Mr. Speaker, my contention was that Article, the second schedule that we're trying to amend does not in any way, Mr. Speaker, change the basic structure of our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, secondly, in terms of the reasons, Mr. Speaker, secondly, I want to state that if you look at the current Constitution that we have, Section 27(3) and Section 4 of the 6th schedule of our current Constitution, Mr. Speaker, gives us a precedent. It was doing the same thing. If you look at the 6th schedule, Section 27(3) and 4 provided protection of existing constituencies under Article 89(4), meaning that even when IBC was going to do delimitation, there were constituencies that they were not going to touch. Mr. Speaker, what that means is that the provisions of Clause 74, read together with the second schedule, Mr. Speaker, is not a new idea. It has happened before. Mr. Speaker, thirdly, because if it was unconstitutional, if it was constitutional then, it should be unconstitutional. It should be constitutional now as well. It can't have been that it was okay then to say that there are certain 27 constituencies that no matter how you apply Article 89 can change, but now it is unconstitutional to say that out of the 70 we want them here. Mr. Speaker, and I repeat, any Kenyan, the people of Homa Bay County, can feel that they have been slighted. And they say, as Homa Bay County people, we want to add five constituencies to Homa Bay County. And they collect 1 million signatures. And they go to 24 county assemblies. We will not say that Homa Bay County people are usurping the role of IBC, because we've supported them as Kenyans. That yes, what they want is to amend the constitution to create constituencies 5 more, and they've decided where they want the 5. And in that same breath, Kenyans had the right to say we want 70 new constituencies, and this is where we want those 70 constituencies, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have heard members saying as well that delimitation is the work of IBC and no one else can do it. Mr. Speaker, I want to state as follows. The provision of 70 new constituencies is not delimitation. Delimitation is defined even if you go to the Black's Law Dictionary. Delimitation, Mr. Speaker, is defined, if you go to the Africa Union Border Program, they've said that delimitation and demarcation are taken together to emphasize the close relationship, and they're not interchangeable. Delimitation is a term applicable to describing a boundary line and a limit of an electoral area. Of the 70 constituencies, Nairobi gets 12. IBC will determine where those 12 will be. They will say Kasarani, which has 397,000 people, can be divided into 2. They will go to another county and say, we have said there will be 5. The actual delimitation, using the formula in Article 89 of 40% and 30%, will be applied by IEBC. But allocation is the same thing that we did in the last constitution to say that this is the exact number.
There's a point of order from Senator Wetangula.
Mr. Speaker, I beseech you to also hold my time, because there have been almost 20 points of order, Mr. Speaker. And I'm not even going halfway.
Mr. Speaker, is it in order for my distinguished nephew, the Senator for Nairobi, to cloud his argument with sectarian interests and mislead the House on what a delimitation means? Delimitation of boundaries of constituencies and wards. First, it is vested in IEBC. Secondly, it is exercised after IEBC has listened to all Kenyans in every county, in every constituency. Nobody can sit in a room somewhere and create constituencies and say where they will be, and then hand over to IEBC and say, now you can delimit. It must be an equitable process involving each and every constituency, ward, and county in the country.
Chair, of course I disagree with that, and it's not a sectarian view. I was going to give even Bungoma. Mr. Speaker, the word delimitation is not based on anyone's opinion. It is an English word. It is a word used in geospatial, science. It is a scientific word. If you check even legally, if you go to the Black's Law Dictionary and Google delimitation, it is not based on an opinion. Delimitation is allocating and specifying where exact boundaries are going to be. Our problem is in the allocation and where those allocations have been made, Mr. Speaker. And that's the problem that the members have. Mr. Speaker, and my point is this. The problem, and Mr. Speaker, surely.
Proceed, I'll give you at some point.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, the point I'm making is that the actual delimitation, where you will go, you will listen to people, you will hear the arguments, even when in the last constitution, we said that 29 constituents, just even you can be allowing me to finish a sentence. There's a point of order.
There's a point of order from Leader of Minority.
Mr. Speaker, the judges normally look at people who are using what they call judicial craft. You become crafty and you try to make a word meaning what it is not. If you read the Constitution has got its own language. So if you want to know what delimitation is, you don't go to the Black's Laws Dictionary. That's just a tool of interpretation. The first document you go to is the Constitution. And the Constitution says what delimitation involves. And when delimitation is carried out, what it is done, how it is done. So this this cloudy thing that you're looking for is very fanciful and very attractive. But if you want to know what delimitation is, if you read it in the context of the Constitution, it is very clear. And I hope, Senator Sakaja, you can listen to your older brother there, because he's been in, uncle. He's been in this business a little longer. He has done cases in court which involve the question of delimitation. In fact, if you want to review the powers of the IEBC under Article 89, normally you find a lot of case law and jurisprudence on what is delimitation. So it is not a fanciful word that you got to go to the Oxford Dictionary. In fact, in the Oxford Dictionary, you can find a meaning of a Swahili word. This Oxford is so wide these days. And the Anglo-Saxon English is very different from American English. The spellings are different. So I think you should just declare that you're in a good place so far as Nairobi is concerned.
There is another point, Senator Sakaja, just hold on. I'll give, you'll give me more time, Chair. Yeah, Senator Cherargei first, then...
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the minority leader, because when you look at Article 88 4C, the delimitation of constituencies, and when you know the language of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, when you look at Article 259, construing of this Constitution, 259.3, every provision of this Constitution shall be construed according to the doctrine of interpretation that the law is always speaking, and therefore among many things. So the interpretation of the Constitution, according to my professor Mutaha Kangu, who taught me the constitutional law then, is that the Constitution should be interpreted in the language, and it is speaking. It is alive both in spirit and substance. So the way Senator Sakaja, Mr. Speaker, is trying to put across is that the interpretation of the order English.
Let's have some order up there. I don't know.
I think...
you are behaving in a very suspicious manner behind there. Yes, Senator Cherargei.
So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, is that so there is the language of the Constitution. So I would advise Senator Sakaja to avoid being intellectually dishonest or legally crafty by introducing things that do not exist. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kimani Wamatangi is another, then Senator Cheriot.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to raise my point of order when Senator Wetangula was just on the floor, Mr. Speaker, but then I was also followed by Senator, the minority leader. But Mr. Speaker, and I raise that point of order because I virtually agree with what Senator Sakaja is saying. And my point of order, Mr. Speaker, is derived from exactly that article of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, because the point Senator Sakaja is making is very simple, Mr. Speaker, that it is provided as to how it would arise that the creation of a constituency will occur. And that is in the quest and exercise of the responsibility of IEBC to ensure that there is compliance with the population quota. Exactly. And Mr. Speaker, in compliance with that population quota, the argument he makes is very simple, that quota of that population can only be domiciled in a certain region or certain area. Call it a constituency. And if then it is found that the population of that area does not conform to the requirement of that quota, then a constituency will be created within that region. So if it was within Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, for example, in Nairobi Central Business District, and IEBC finds that, as required by the Constitution, that the population quota is not complied with, then they will have to propose the creation of a constituency, of course, using the right means.
So what's the point
Mr. Speaker, my point of order is very simple.
Yeah.
That Senator Sakaja is right to the extent that Senator Wetangula and the minority leader, with due respect, are wrong, because the creation of that constituency would have to be within
the area that is non-compliant. And so you cannot create a constituency in Nairobi and transfer it to Bungoma.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, it has to be within the place where it is created.
Okay.
And thus, in that process, Mr. Speaker, when it is complied with, that is even how now in the second schedule, you find that those constituencies are within the areas that are non-compliant with the population quota.
Okay. Senator Cheruiyot.
Mr. Speaker, there's something Senator Wamatangi doesn't get. He made this mistake in the morning. He keeps on repeating it. This, and yesterday, this is the point, Mr. Speaker. Just listen, Senator Wamatangi. You see, the debate is not about where the constituencies are placed or where they will exist. The debate, listen, just listen, Senator Wamatangi.
Order, senators.
You know, since he became a whip, Senator Wamatangi listens to no one anymore. I want to remind him there have been previous occupants of that office, and they were very powerful. So, and there will be others. So, please keep your cool, just like we kept quiet when you're speaking. This is the point. Whether it is possible in a constitutional amendment bill, you domicile a number of constituencies and limit IBC that these constituencies can only exist in a particular area. And that is why we were asking earlier on, Mr. Speaker, what is the interpretation of people like him and Senator Sakaja of Article 8910? This point that Senator James Orengo keeps on repeating, that if anyone was to appeal this process, it can only be after the commission is done and satisfied with the delimitation of boundaries. Therefore, no, that means you agree with us in our school of thought, other than, you know, Senator Sakaja, and this is a point that Moses Wetangula was making.
Address the Speaker. I can see you might throw the constitution at
No, I can't. Mr. Speaker, I'm a gentleman.
I could see you moving.
No.
Movement.
I am a gentleman. You know, Mr. Speaker, in linguistics, there's something they call, and they teach this at the university, English for specific purpose. That not every word means the same thing in different fields. I can give you an example, Mr. Speaker. If you take a phrasal verb, like to know someone, in basic English, it means that I know you as Ken Lusaka. But in religious English, to know someone means something else. It means to procreate with them. So you cannot take the elimination of boundaries the same way they want to interpret it, that it is a work of IBC. That is not what this constitution intended. That is why they have provided it in subsection 10 of 89, that you will only appeal after it is done. If you domicile it in a particular county, what is the work of IBC?
Okay, there's a last one, Senator Sakaja, from Senator Harugura.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to raise on a point of order because I'd like to know whether Senator Sakaja is in order, insisting that while it's very clear that we are not disputing that either by popular or parliamentary initiative, the number of constituencies can be increased. But the issue is to locate them, because the Constitution talks of even the population quota, that is the work of IEBC. But if already you have a schedule which has already allocated them, then what will be the work of IEBC after that?
Okay, Senator Sakaja.
Thank you, Chair. You know, if members listened for the logical conclusion of an argument, even what Senator Cheruiyot is asking and Senator Argura is asking will not be a question. So, Chair, our standing orders are clear, Speaker. When someone rises on a point of order, let them say what is out of order, because all we've had is points of argument. Despite all the poetry we've had about delimitation, no one has given us a contrary definition, because that is the definition that is there. Allocation of constituencies is one thing. Delimitation is deciding exactly where in that area it is, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, when that process is being done, because in the same way, Senator Argura, that you're saying it must be done by population quota, in this constitution we have, the schedule spoke about 27 constituencies which fell below the population quota, and said those 27 will not be touched. That was a schedule. The schedule is part of the bill. The schedule is not an inferior part of the bill, Mr. Speaker. And that schedule became part of the Constitution today. So in the same way, and Senator Aaron is asking, that why is it that we can say, that Kenyans can say, we want 70 more constituencies and say where they are, if that is unconstitutional, then what you're saying as well is that Senator Ongeri's people, having passed the threshold required in the Constitution, cannot do a popular initiative to ask for one more constituency in Kisii, because they'll have asked for constituencies to be increased by a certain number and where they should be put. Mr. Speaker, on that one I disagree. Even if I am alone, I disagree. We cannot usurp the role of the people. The people themselves can bring an amendment here to do away with IBC. IBC is a creature of the Constitution. In fact, the people can bring an amendment to do away with the Senate, Mr. Speaker. So what the people have proposed here to increase constituencies is within their right. And final say will be with the people of Kenya at the referendum. They will decide whether they agree with it or not. Tomorrow, Makweni can bring the same proposal. So, Mr. Speaker, that is my point. And the points of order are points of argument. We do not have to agree. We shall express it at the referendum. Mr. Speaker, as I go ahead, and we don't have to agree. Mr. Speaker, some of the imbalances.
Okay. Who is the point of order?
Surely.
Senator Orengo.
Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I support this bill, and that's what I said. But it's always wrong to make factual misstatements. In fact, in the courts here, if you go and argue today that this is what the law says, and you appear before the court the next day and argue the opposite direction, you will be put to order, or you may be cited. Mr. Speaker, there's a problem that we're having persistently when people think that if you have a bill to amend the Constitution through the popular initiative, then it is by the people. It is not by the people. It is by the promoters. A promoter can be one person. All he needs is to get 1 million people. If it was the people, we need the whole of Kenyans to sign. This is a bill brought by the promoters. It is not by the 1 million people. The 1 million people was a condition precedent before you can take the bill to IEBC. So I think you should think of the process. The process is what is popular initiative. It's not that it is by the people. It is a popular initiative because you go through certain thresholds. Yeah, so I think we've got to be very careful about what you're saying.
Chair, there's a difference between a popular initiative and a parliamentary initiative in terms of who originated, the thresholds. A parliamentary initiative does not need a threshold of 1 million signatures before it comes to this House. It does not need 24 counties. The reason why there's a higher threshold, and that's why I've given the precedent, I've quoted the case law in India. I've quoted that it is the people who ultimately make the decision at the referendum. So if the people agree that those 5 be added to Siaya, or that 2 be added in Nandi, or that 12 be added in Nairobi, it is so. It cannot be unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker. It cannot. There I disagree. But Chair, if you allow me to go on, because clearly there's no point of order there at all. There's no point of order. Mr. Speaker, I want to raise the issue further within the. No, Mr. Speaker, the process of delimitation, once the numbers have been passed, for instance, Mr. Speaker, because I know BBI will pass. When BBI passes, Mr. Speaker, there will be 360 constituencies. These 360 have been defined in terms of where they will be. I think there are a few in Kilifi, there are some in Siaya, there are some in Kiambu, etc. Mr. Speaker, those in Kiambu, for instance, or those in Muranga, or those in Uasin Gishu, the authority to determine the boundaries, the population quota, where this constituency will start and where it will end, is the role of the IEBC, and this BBI has not touched that role. So, Mr. Speaker, I hold that is constitutional. Mr. Speaker, further, I don't seek to be informed, Senator Otangula. Mr. Speaker, further, in view of the order, senators, just because of time, I'll accept information a bit later. I think you're stopping my flow.
Senator Sakaja, Senator Otangula is even invoking our relationship for you to listen to this information.
Chair, you know the problem. I ask you to. I ask you, Mr. Speaker, because many times you interrupt me even in the middle of a sentence. Can you just allow, even for flow, for me to finish a paragraph and then let him come in. And I would never refuse information from my distinguished uncle, but I just want him to hear this part, Mr. Speaker, because somebody has asked about public participation. Mr. Speaker, in proposed amendment by popular initiative, the burden to conduct public participation required by Article 89.7 in the review of boundaries, because that is when then you have the constitution, does not fall on the promoters. Let's not call them the people then, let's call them the promoters. It does not fall on the promoters. The burden to conduct public participation will then fall on IEBC in Article 89.10, as Senator Aaron Cheriot, once those numbers have been created, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I've said, a schedule is part of the bill, and in this case, the same rules would apply to consideration of the main body as applies to the schedule. Mr. Speaker, again, we have had people raising concerns on where these constituencies are going. Mr. Speaker, the point which I want my distinguished uncle to hear, and Senator of Siaya, the issue of fairness should not be mistaken for the issue of constitutionality. The issue of fairness, of why this county has gotten and why this issue has not got, this county has not been allocated, is not the same issue as the issue of constitutionality, because that one is debatable. When the KNBS came to us, Mr. Speaker, because, okay, let me take the information.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished nephew, the Senator for Nairobi, is making very cogent but faulty arguments. Extremely faulty. Mr. Speaker, the issue I want to inform my distinguished nephew, the Senator for Nairobi, is this: that in delimiting and creating additional constituencies, whether the people of Marsabit qualify or not, whether the people of Mandera qualify or not, whether the people of Kitui qualify or not, the underlying principle and philosophy in this constitution is equity and fairness.
Article 10.
And you can find that in Article 10, that you'll end up giving Nairobi the constituencies, but here Marsabit, here Mandera, here others. What is even more important, Mr. Speaker, and that's why his arguments are faulty, even for us who support this constitution amendment, is that when you look at Article 89, I don't mind the information before I finish. Yes, you can inform me.
No. Order, Senator. Order.
You know, Mr. Speaker, in law we have a doctrine called watching the watchers. And we can also have informing the informers. This is the growth in law and in debate. But I want to inform my distinguished nephew, Mr. Speaker, that when you look at Article 89, the delimitation of boundaries of constituencies, you have to take into account, for example, 89.5, geographical features and urban centers, community of interest, historical, economic, and cultural ties, means of communication, all this. Can you show us from your report, since you are in the committee, where these requirements were met before the 70 constituencies were fixed in the amendment? Because, don't be too agitated, my nephew. You know, there's a doctrine in English called being clever by half. It's very dangerous. I'm sorry, my nephew, I retract that. But the hyena told a stone, hata usiponijibu, umesikia. Mr. Speaker, my distinguished nephew must know that we know what he's saying, defending the constituencies given to Nairobi. He's taking a long cut. You can actually take a shortcut and say you support what is given to Nairobi and let others debate these issues.
Chair, Senator Wetangula is grossly out of order to impute improper motive of my intentions. Chair, if there's a member in this house who sacrificed for other counties, and you know it, on what counties are getting, it has been me, even in the revenue formula, and I've been very clear. When Nairobi was getting 100 million, I stood with 18 counties. It's not about what Nairobi is getting. Mr. Speaker, on allocation of resources, I have the T-shirt, I can wear the T-shirt. But Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, on equality of the vote.
I'm going to allow you, Senator Sakaja, but avoid situations that will attract so many points of order. Because you are attracting these things yourselves.
Okay, Chair.
When they ask, I cannot deny them.
Okay, Chair, let me say this.
Proceed.
Chair, I'm making my point.
Okay.
Because, Mr. Speaker, I have a track record in this House. This House has answered. This House is a House of records. Senator of Kilifi, I stood with you when Kilifi was losing. It's not about who's gaining. On allocation of resources and equity, I am clear. But allocation of constituent equality of the vote are principled in Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And in our Constitution, I am clear that equality of the vote is even in our Constitution, we talk about 30% and 40%. I'll ask the lawyers who are senior here. Look at Kacha versus Daggett in the US Supreme Court. A deviation of 0.7% was found to be too much, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, another point of information, because I can see Senator Wetangula going to Article 89, again consult the answer of this very House. In 2009, 2010, when this Constitution was being written, I dictated the whole of Article 89 that we have in this Constitution, so I understand it. So the question that you've asked, it is a record of this House. So the question that you're asking, Mr. Speaker, on how geography will be taken into account, on how community of interest will be taken into account, of how all the factors there, that then is the work of the IBC when they are drawing the actual boundaries. Mr. Speaker, as I go to conclude, Mr. Speaker, the cardinal point of imbalances, because you're talking about imbalances, I will show you imbalances. Mr. Speaker, the principle of equality of the vote is that because not all Kenyans can come to Parliament, Kenyans need to be in as equal as possible constituencies to give one representative. Mr. Speaker, today, the people of Kasarani, for instance, and I'll use Nairobi as an example, have 398,000 with one member of Parliament. While the people of, for instance, Isiolo South are 77,000. Both have one vote, Mr. Speaker. The people of Elgeyo Marakwet as a county is 444,000, and Nairobi is 4.3 million. Yet we're talking about representation of the people. Mr. Speaker, on that one, the right of the people to be equally represented. And Mr. Speaker, the issue in our country is that we mix we mix allocation of resources and representation of the people. Allocation of resources is about equity and services.
There's a point of order from Senator Abshiro.
peke yake ya kubadilisha katiba hiyo, na wao wana haki kabisa kama Mkenya mwingine, kwa sababu bado ni Wakenya, wanakura, wanapiga kura, wana haki kubadilisha katiba iwapo wanaona. Ndio maana na Mheshimiwa Millie Odhiambo nadhani jana alipokuwa anakuuliza maoni yako Bwana Spika, aliuliza je, katika haki za hizi nchi kuna Mkenya mwingine ambaye ana haki zaidi na mwenzake, na nina hakika kuwa utakuja utatuambia kuwa kila mtu ana haki sawa, hata kama ni mwananchi wa Kenya ama ni rais wa hii nchi. Katika kuongeza pia maoni mengine, sehemu au kipengele cha 50 cha mswada huu unasema kuwa kaunti zetu ziweze kuongezewa fedha kutoka 15% hivi sasa ambayo iko kwenye katiba mpaka 35%. Kwa kweli hili ni jambo zuri sana. Hii 15% tu toka mwaka 2013 tulipoanza ugatuzi, wananchi sehemu nyingi ya nchi wameona faida na tofauti ya uongozi wa ugatuzi na uongozi tukiwa na serikali ya juu peke yake. Na kama mabadiliko yamekuja licha ya changamoto tofauti na 15%, je, 35% itaweza kuleta mabadiliko gani katika hii nchi? Kuna wengine ambao wana propaganda wanataka kupinga mswada huu kwa sababu ya sababu zao moja au nyingine. Wanatatiza wananchi kuambia kama sasa serikali inashindwa kutuma 15% kwa county, je, itaweza kutuma 35%? Lakini hii hisabu ni ya rahisi kabisa. Ni hisabu hata inaweza kufundishwa katika shule ya chekechea. Ni kama vile mfano wa kibenki ama kibakuli chako kina senti. Nchi au kikapu cha nchi cha pesa. Zile pesa zitakazopata katika nchi hii kwa mwaka huu, 15% hivi sasa inaenda kwa serikali za kaunti. Kwa hivyo serikali ikipata bilioni 1, ikipata trilioni, ikipata hata shilingi 100, lazima 15% iende kwa serikali za kaunti. Kwa hivyo kusema 35% ni ule mkebe kila siku au ule mfuko wa kila mwaka ndio utagawanywa 35% lazima ziende mashinani. Na hata hivi sasa kukiwa na serikali za kaunti zinalalamika kwa kuwa pesa zao zinacheleweshwa, lakini bado mwisho wa siku zinafika kwa sababu ya kipengele hichi kwenye katiba. Na badili ya kuacha senti zikae Nairobi, siku nyingi tumekuwa tukilalamika kuwa pesa zinaenda sehemu nyingine ya nchi ama zinashughulikia watu wengine. Sasa pesa hizi zinaongezwa mashinani ili wananchi waweze kufaidika na serikali yao iliyo karibu. Mimi hushangaa kila masaa wananchi wa kawaida katika mitandao, katika sehemu zingine za mazungumzo, sio wengi nashukuru, lakini bado nashangaa hao wananchi wakiwa wanapinga katiba hii. Kwa sababu katiba hii kama nilivyosema italeta manufaa mashinani. Pia kitu chengine ambacho italeta ni maeneo bunge ambayo yataweza kuongezwa yameweza kuongezwa. Tuna maeneo bunge 70 mapya yameongezwa. Kwa sisi wa Pwani mwanzo bila BBI, na hili ni jambo muhimu sana kwa wapwani kujua, bila BBI kuna eneo bunge 10 ambazo zitakuwa hazipo tena mwaka baada ya mwaka 2022 tukienda kura, kwa sababu ya katiba hii ya sasa inavyosema. Wananchi katika eneo hizo bunge hawatoshelezi, kwa hivyo ni lazima IBC iweze kufuta maeneo bunge hayo 10. Na maeneo bunge hayo 10 sehemu ya Pwani yako Lamu, yako Tana River, yataondolewa Taita Taveta, na hata Kwale County nakotoka Matuga huko itashikwa. Kwa hivyo BBI imesaidia maeneo bunge hayo 10 Pwani yasifutike. Lengine ni kuwa BBI imeongezea Pwani, na sio kwa upendeleo, ni haki yetu ya miaka mingi kulingana na idadi ya watu waliomo humo ndani, ndio tumeongezewa eneo bunge hizo 10. 4 zitaenda kaunti ya Kilifi, 3 zitaenda kaunti ya Mombasa, na 3 zingine zitaenda kaunti ya Kwale ninayotoka. Kwa hivyo nawasihi wa Pwani kwa hilo waunge mkono BBI iwapo kura ya maoni itakuja mashinani. Na pia wabunge wenzangu, kwa mfano pia mheshimiwa mbunge wa eneo bunge la Malindi aliyekuja hapa kupinga mswada huu, kumwambia kubali tafadhali, badilisha maoni yako, rudi nyuma na uunge mkono huu mswada wa BBI, kwa sababu kaunti yako ya Kilifi itapata eneo bunge 4 mpya ambazo zitapatia wananchi uwakilishi mwingi zaidi, itapatia wananchi CDF ambayo itasaidia nyingi zaidi basari, itasaidia ujenzi wa barabara, na itasaidia pia CDF itasaidia masuala ya kujenga shule na kuhakikisha pia shule zetu zina vifaa vya sayansi ambapo hivi sasa shule zetu hazina. Lengine pia muhimu sana la kuangazia ni masuala ya jinsia. Kwa mara ya kwanza huenda Kenya tukawa viongozi ulimwengu mzima kwa kusawazisha masuala ya jinsia. BBI inaleta kwa mara ya mwisho, baada ya kujaribu mara nyingi sana hapa bungeni, inaleta usawa wa ile sheria yetu ya theluthi mbili ya jinsia hapa bungeni letu, bunge la kitaifa. Hapo awali katiba yetu ya 2010 ilikuwa kwa imetengeneza sheria kusaidia seneti na swala hilo, ikawa sheria hiyo iko kwenye katiba, na pia ilisaidia serikali za kaunti kuweza kutimiza hiyo sheria ya thuluthi tatu. Lakini wale walotunga katiba ya 2010 walisahau kutuwekea kipengele cha hapa bunge ambao kitasawazisha jinsia tatu. Kwa hivyo BBI inaleta hicho kipengele na hiyo shida itaisha na BBI. Na lengine kwa masuala ya jinsia, tutakuwa nusu kwa nusu, au Waingereza wanasema 50-50 katika seneti. Pale senate itakuwa wananchi wakichagua seneta wawili, mmoja wa kike na mmoja wa kiume. Hili ni jambo kubwa sana ambao duniani ni vigumu sana, hata nchi zinazoongoza wameshindwa kufika idadi kama hii. Lengine ni katika ugavana, katika gavana mwenyewe na naibu wa gavana, italazimu kama gavana ni mwanamume achukue mdogo wake mwanamke, au kama gavana ni mwanamke achukue mdogo wake mwanamume, na hiyo pia italeta nusu kwa nusu uwakilishi wa kijinsia. Hayo ni mambo muhimu sana ya maendeleo. Wengi huuliza saa nyingine kwa nini ni muhimu kuwa na usawa wa jinsia. Nikiwa Kwale County napenda kueleza wananchi hivi, ni mfano wa shughuli ya nyumbani kama harusi au mazishi. Je, katika familia unaweza kufanya harusi, shughuli ndogo tu, ikafaulu na wanawake peke yake, au unaweza kufanya harusi au mazishi na wanaume peke yake? Na jibu mara nyingi ni kuwa haiwezekani, ama ikifanyika shughuli haitafana. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio umuhimu wake. Na lengine ambao nataka kusema, wengine wamekuja hapa wakasema kuwa na wabunge zaidi itakuwa mzigo kwa taifa. Huo si ukweli. Mzigo mkubwa Kenya yetu ni ufisadi ambao unakula thuluthi mbili ya pesa zetu za bajeti za mwaka mzima. Bunge inatumia bajeti 1% peke yake, 1% peke yake au zaidi kidogo katika Kenya nzima kila mwaka, na hata zikiongezeka haitaongezeka sana. Na mwisho, kuna watu wanasumbua watu kuambia kuna kopi tofauti za BBI. Hamna. Kosa lilikuwa kwa moja ya nambari 1 peke yake ambayo hata haiko kwenye katiba. Na kwa hayo pia nasema shukran, naunga mkono, na nawaomba wabunge wenzangu waunge mkono, na Wakenya kwa jumla ikija kwenye kura za maoni waunge mkono mswada huu. Asante.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to also participate in this moment that I consider a very important moment in contributing to this bill that is before us. And let me begin by saying that indeed I feel privileged that this is the second time that I happen to be a member of parliament when we are actually amending the Constitution. And I want to say I was actively involved prior to the 2010 Constitution in the clamor for a new Constitution. And many lives were lost. Many lives were lost. And Mr. Speaker, I'll never forget the number of times we went to the streets of this city and in many other towns in this country trying to push for a new Constitution. And one of the biggest things that really drove us to do that was to make sure we had a Constitution that treated all Kenyans equally. A Constitution that gives freedoms and rights to the people of Kenya. A Constitution that ensured that this Kenya belonged to everybody. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I consider any effort to review the 2010 Constitution as a very important process, a sacred process, a process that should not be seen to be taking away any gain that we fought for in the 2010 Constitution. If it does so, even in the smallest way, it becomes a real threat to the future of this nation. Mr. Speaker, the Independence Constitution was amended well over 29 times. And in each single constitutional amendment, Mr. Speaker, it took away from the people and gave more power to the executive. It became such a distorted document until the final document could not even be compared to the first document. And I would hate, personally, as a member of this House, to be one of those that played a role in changing a constitution and taking away whatever gains the citizens of Kenya had gotten out of the 2010 constitution. And therefore, I'm listening to some very good things being said about this bill. And there are some very good things in this bill. But I want to tell this House that there are some very, very dangerous amendments in this bill that we are moving to amend the 2010 constitution that will become a real issue, many, many years down the line. And we had hoped that we had created a constitution that will pass the test of time. We had hoped that we will not have people wanting to do what those others had done to the independence constitution by wanting to give themselves power at the expense of Mwananchi, or at the expense of Kenyans. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, one of the things I'm asking myself is just how important are these amendments? First of all, at a time when Kenyans are expecting that we should be more sensitive to the real issues affecting them, one of them being the corona pandemic and the impact it has had on the citizenry. Today, many Kenyans have lost their jobs. Today, many Kenyans do not even know where to earn a living. Today, many Kenyans cannot access the vaccine. But all of us in this House have been vaccinated, Mr. Speaker. So for me, I worry about that. But let me move on, Mr. Speaker, to speak about the real issue today. Mr. Speaker, can the leader of majority just let me contribute without interrupting me?
It's a point of order. Leader of majority.
Honorable Speaker, I did not intend to interrupt any member.
Let me have my chance.
Because this is a constitutional moment. But the Honorable nominated member, Sisi Bare, has just made a very serious allegation that there are some dangerous provisions that are contained within this bill. Does not go ahead to tell us which are these dangerous provisions in this bill and proceeds to tell us about corona, which is not included in this bill. Is she in order to mislead this House is she in order to mislead this House and Kenyans that there are some dangerous provisions within this BBI bill without mentioning those provisions, and then goes ahead to totally irrelevant matters dealing with pandemics and all that are not the subject matter of this bill?
You know, Mr. Speaker, with all respect to the leader of majority, if you had accepted to sit right where you are and give me time, I was going to those dangerous clauses. So please just don't disrupt me. Allow me to speak. And I want to say this, Mr. Speaker. When we were amending the 2010 Constitution, because the Constitution is about all of us, all Kenyans, the then government allowed people to give their views. The then government allowed even ministers. I remember the Minister for Agriculture then, Honorable William Ruto, the Minister for Special Programs then, Naomi Shaban, were in the no camp, but nobody intimidated them. So don't think you'll come here and intimidate me.
Please, honourable members, so that
Mr. Speaker,
just allow me to
proceed, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to proceed. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that we fought for when we were fighting for the 2010 Constitution was the independence of the institutions of government, was the independence of the three arms of government. And if there was a big gain that we gained as the people of Kenya, was to ensure that the three arms of government, executive, parliament, judiciary, were truly, truly independent. independent. Some of you who probably never had a chance to face the wrath of the dictator regime that was there then may not appreciate those gains. But those that followed what was going on then will appreciate that one of the major gains we achieved was really the independence of the three arms of government. The minute we allow the executive to have control of parliament, the minute we allow the executive to have control of the judiciary, that is the beginning of the end of our democracy, Mr. Speaker. And so allow me to mention some of those things that I find not good for this nation going forward. One of them, Mr. Speaker, and by the way, that is why one Honorable Raila Odinga, who I respect very much, fought very hard for that new constitution. And if there's a man I know went out of his way, sacrificed for the 2010 constitution, it was the Honorable Raila Odinga. It is sad that again we are taking away those gains and he happens to be supporting. But allow me, Mr. Speaker, to begin with the issue, Mr. Speaker, of the judiciary. Mr. Speaker, the judiciary is very, very important. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that if judiciary is not fully dependent, any of us seated here can be a victim. If the judiciary was not independent, TJ Kajwang would be behind bars right now of treason. TJ Kajwang would be behind bars today of treason, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what is happening, one of the things that this bill has done is to take away, is it page 14? I'm trying to get to the judiciary. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Yes, it says this, Article 47, that the Judicial Service Commission, on top of all the functions that are already stipulated in the current constitution, it goes further to say that the Judicial Service Commission will receive complaints against judges, investigate, discipline judges by warning, reprimanding, or suspending of a judge. Currently, Mr. Speaker, in the current constitution, the thing that the judicial service does is they will investigate, they will come up with their findings, they'll take it to the president, who will then form a tribunal. Now, what is happening by bringing this particular amendment, it means that judges going forward are fully exposed. Their security of tenure is under threat, Mr. Speaker. The security of tenure of the judges going forward is under threat, Mr. Speaker. Where will we get justice if a judge knows that they have a chance that they could lose their job?
That's a point of argument.
Yes, please, that's my opinion. You have your chance. Mr. Junet, you even already...
You know, somebody else will come and say...
Please.
Somebody else will have an opinion. Sorry, I'll give you back your 2 minutes.
Yes.
But somebody else is at liberty to say, when they're exposed to the president, they are not as independent as when they are being dealt with. So, this is one point. This is one side of the argument. So you can argue the opposite side. So
Mr. Speaker...
Yes, you have your time.
That for me worries me because judges going forward will no longer have the independence that they enjoy right now. Then we go further and say we're establishing an office of the judicial ombudsman, who again is appointed by the president. Good people, where is the independence of the judiciary? Please tell me, where is the independence of the judiciary? Mr. Speaker, I want to move forward, Mr. Speaker, and talk about the National Police Service Commission. Mr. Speaker, the National Police Service Commission had very clear functions in the 2010 Constitution. But I think somewhere along the way somebody got uncomfortable with the fact that the Police Service Commission was doing its job and a few people are uncomfortable that they are not able to control the running of that commission. So as a result, what have we done? Taken away key functions of the National Police Service Commission and given them to an individual called the IG. This is a person who can receive a phone call anytime and is given instructions and he can do anything. So what have we said? We have said, Mr. Speaker, I'm losing my eyesight, Mr. Speaker, I'm growing older. We have said this, Mr. Speaker, that in clause 2, we delete paragraph B and substitute therefore the following new paragraph. That the B shall exercise independent command over the service, that is the IG, determine promotions and transfers within the service, that is the IG, exercise disciplinary control through suspension of officers in the service, that is the IG, perform any other functions prescribed by legislation. Good people, we are moving away from an institution called a commission and taking these powers to an individual called the IG. Are we taking away gains or are we helping the National Police Service Commission? What happens to those officers who in the Moi days would go for years? You are a corporal for 40 years, you'll never be promoted because you don't belong to the right community. What happens to that officer? We are better off with a commission than an individual, good people. We must never create a law with an individual in mind. We create a law for posterity. That is what we were fighting for in 2010. Let me move forward, Mr. Speaker. We have a very important commission called the SRC. SRC is a commission that is constituted and stakeholders who will be affected by the decisions of that commission are represented in that commission. Mr. Speaker, SRC as a representative of the Parliamentary Service Commission, the Police Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, the Teacher Service Commission, the Defense Council, COTU, etc. Now what this bill has done, they have decided that the SRC will be formed by commissioners who will come from wherever, professionals with the skill appointed by the executive. Now, who will protect the workers? Who will protect? Of course, you don't know workers because you don't care. That is what has happened to this house. I'm sorry. We become very selfish, very self-driven. It's all about us. We don't care about Wananchi. Otherwise, today, we'll be talking about the vaccine for these people. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. While I know this is going to go on, this bill is going to go on anyway, because by the writers of the Constitution, our role seems to be very minimal. But let me say this. I pray that this thing doesn't go through. Yes. And why I say so is because this thing takes away gains that we fought for with our lives, with our sweat, with our blood. I pray this thing doesn't go through because I know one day we will have another president who will be worse than the previous dictators we've had in the past. And you people will come here to make noise about what will be going wrong at that time. And you are the ones responsible. So I want to go down.
Member Voseme. Member Voseme. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'll start by saying that the importance of the bill we have today is not so much in the contents as in the history and the background of this bill. Mr. Speaker, we must go back how did this bill come to be? Mr. Speaker, we had terrible issues of violence after every election. Mr. Speaker, in 2007, what I saw when I was Director of Medical Services, how people were dying, many of us did not see. What I saw in Naivasha, what I saw in Londiani, what I saw in Burnt Forest, Mr. Speaker, I was able to actually see people burning others' houses from over the helicopter. Mr. Speaker, then in 2017, 2018, which we've come through, people have indicated here the violence that we had. Mr. Speaker, on one day only in this country, 30 young people died between the airport and the Uhuru Park. Mr. Speaker, because all of us believed at that time that the only way you will have access to services and access to welfare is if your person is at the helm of governance. Mr. Speaker, on that day, in that week, Mr. Speaker, in Uhuru Park, if the president had not been magnanimous, when we went in for the swearing in, this country would have seen bloodshed. But the two leaders, Mr. Speaker, decided that there must be a way forward. So they had a handshake. That stopped the violence. The country had literally stopped. Nairobi was ungovernable. But it's not only stopping that was important. Mr. Speaker, what was also important is why is this happening year in, year out, and why are Kenyans going for each other's necks? Mr. Speaker, that brought up the handshake brought the Building Bridges Initiative. In my view, Mr. Speaker, this initiative is to try and identify what are the problems that has beset the country since 1963 and has stopped this country from progressing in the way our forefathers imagined. And that initiative looked at those issues. The issue of our ethos. Why is it that in this country corruption has become something acceptable? Maybe people our age may see corruption as something wrong, but our children are seeing it as normal, a way of life. Can we live like that? Mr. Speaker, why is it that people always talk of our rights, but nobody talks of our responsibility? Can we have a country where everybody extracting their rights, but nobody is exacting their responsibility? Mr. Speaker, these are the problems. Mr. Speaker, where do you have ethnic division and ethnic antagonism? On every issue, even here on the floor of the House, many times, even our politics is driven by that. Because we do not believe we are one nation. We are a state by law, but are we a nation at heart? Mr. Speaker, why the other issue is inclusivity. Why do some people believe that they're not part of the system? That if your man is not at the top, you are not part of the country, you are not part, you will not get the services, you will not get the appointment. Why is it that economically the youth, gender issues, they believe that some people are not part of it? Mr. Speaker, these are the problems. Mr. Speaker, why is that people who are corrupt, obviously and sometimes openly corrupt, actually are the people that run the system, claim to run the system, decide to run the system, fight to run the system, and they do. Mr. Speaker, they also noticed this, the 9 agenda, the issue of devolution. So to me, Mr. Speaker, the BBI initiative was trying to seek how we can go back on the path that we lost from 1963 and take this country back to where we wanted it. Mr. Speaker, there are some of us here who may not believe that in the 70s, The public hostels were better than the private hostels. I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, in 76, 77, as a medical student, we were transferring patients from Aga Khan to Kenyatta Hospital because they were better hostels. As an intern, I was transferring children from Aga Khan Hospital in Kisumu to the provincial hospital, which is now Jaramogi Hospital, because they were better services. Mr. Speaker, the public schools were better than the private schools. Many of us here, our age, went to public schools. They were the standard. How has it come that now it is public things that actually serve the majority of Kenyans that actually second grade? Now that if public schools do better, people are wondering whether that is clear. But in reality, that is how it should be. That is where the majority of people are served. So, Mr. Speaker, that is what led to the solutions that we are seeking through this amendment. We are seeking to see, can this amendment take us back to where we wanted to be? Mr. Speaker, I accept that some of the amendments actually will take us there. I therefore support this bill. For example, we are going to have the leader of opposition, official opposition in parliament. Obviously, if you have an election and the leader of opposition feels comfortable in parliament, we shall not run in the streets. So that will definitely solve the problem. Mr. Speaker, if we look at the structuring of the executive, when you look at clause 28, which is amending Article 151, establishment of the office of the Prime Minister, the office of the Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this will go a long way in actually stabilizing the system. Some people have argued that this will be expensive. If the establishment of those offices are more expensive than the losses we incur every time after election. It cannot be. So when you establish those offices and the stability, that's okay. And moreover, when the office of the Prime Minister is established, we will actually appoint the Prime Minister from this House. In fact, it's giving the House more power in the executive than probably we have now, at least the establishment of them. We shall have ministers in the House. We have been trying to get ministers here. Mr. Speaker tried that we get the ministers come and they be at the corner. That could not be allowed. Now this, we shall have them here. So we shall have them in the House. The only thing I may comment about that, removal of the function, the mandate of this House to vet the ministers, that's something we may look at. Mr. Speaker, the amendments you can see actually in this about the responsibilities and lining out what the responsibility of a citizen is are extremely important. People can say these are our rights, but people must know these are the responsibilities that we have. Haki yetu must actually be accompanied by jukumu letu. We can't just have haki. Well, what is our responsibility to the nation? So that clause 4, which amending Article 8, is important. Mr. Speaker, we have had the issue of gender parity, which actually threatened. There was even a decision of the court that this House actually be dissolved. These amendments are actually bringing that by restructuring the Senate so that we have equal members, male and female, in the Senate without really any problem. So that solves a problem we have not been able to solve for 5 years. Honorable Duale actually brought how many amendments? How many Duale bills? 4. And none of them passed. This amendment has solved it at once. In the National Assembly itself, we have adopted what is in Article 177, which was actually in the National Assemblies, so that we appoint people after the election to meet the gender requirement. Some people are saying that will be a big house and that will be expensive. But inclusivity, leaving half your team out, can never be expensive. Let's bring all the people in. So we can do that, and in any case, this is something that with time will actually solve itself. So, Mr. Speaker, I think there are very progressive amendments in this bill. Mr. Speaker, look at devolution. Every year we have a big problem with the division of revenue. Every year we have a division of money in the counties. Some things have happened in the counties, but some counties have actually never been able to operate efficiently because of the amount of money that we give them. So we stuck to 15%. We sit here in this assembly looking at only 15% for the counties, while for the national government at the position of budget policy statement, we have all the details of what every department and every state department needs. We don't look at what actually the county needs. We just say at least 15%. That is not a way to do any division. So adding this to 35%, Mr. Speaker, I think takes us a long way. But that is something we will have to look at. I've always looked at, we have to look at the role of IBEC in actually the division of revenue. I think we have a problem there. But at least this amendment solves that temporarily. Mr. Speaker, our county assemblies have been held at ransom by governors. Governors have literally held our county assemblies at ransom. They cannot run, they cannot, anything they want to do, they have to ask for money from the governor. This the amendment we have now that is actually creating the county assembly fund so that it's run more the way we run the parliamentary service with the money. So imagine every time we had to go to the executive to ask for money on daily basis to run the National Assembly or to run the Senate. It definitely would not work. So freeing our assemblies so that they can actually oversight the governance is extremely important. Coupled with the fact that we actually, a member was saying that next year we have to look at the qualifications of the members of the county assembly. I think that's a law that was passed and actually it was just postponed. Perhaps it's going to go. When we get people of that level who are well funded, who are independent, I think we'll be strengthening the counties. And that is what we wanted. So that issue of people coming to the center to beg for money is not there. Mr. Speaker, the CDF has actually helped us to realize that if the money is devolved to the grassroots level, it works better. So creating the ward fund, the county ward fund, and if the appropriate laws are put in place, I think that fund will be as effective as CDF in actually implementing the devolved function. I can tell you, in my own county, there are things we would want to do, but we have to go to the county. You want to even just improve fisheries. You want even to do simple horticulture. Now, if this money was available, women just want to borrow small money for trade. If this money was available, actually, we would go a long way in supporting our people. Mr. Speaker, putting CDF in the Constitution, I think is a good move forward. We are tired of the fighting every year that although it is now national government constituency fund, but putting it in the Constitution, I think is a permanent solution. And I can tell you, all of us know, if you go to schools in many constituencies in this country today, there is no difference between the schools in the town and the schools in the rural areas. Why should our children in the rural areas go to poorer schools and they pay taxes like everybody else? So I think putting CDF there, I think, Mr. Speaker, is important. Corruption is another thing, Mr. Speaker. I've always believed that there are two things only if we can remove in this country, we will fly, the country will fly. If we can remove negative ethnicity, call it tribalism, if we can remove corruption, we will go very far. So, Mr. Speaker, the laws that are put for speedy resolution of cases of corruption important, the establishment of the youth fund is important, and Mr. Speaker, the issues of constituency, of ombudsman, of salary review commission, I think those are things we can look at. And let me end by saying, Mr. Speaker, if we proceed with this process properly, we may be able to create a nation out of the state called Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ole Sankok.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, Honorable Speaker.
Honourable member, hold on your time. But please, honourable members, just to give everybody comfort, up to now I have 77 requests. Now, as I was told, there are members who came here at 1:30. So some of you came at 2:15, which is quite early. I'm sure, and that's why some of you are telling me you came at 2, but I was told there are members who are here at 1:30. So now, members, what do? But take this assurance from me. This being a constitutional amendment bill, I will ensure that as many voices, at least not less than not less than the majority of the members of this House, will have to speak to the bill. It doesn't matter how long it takes us, because this is very, very serious business. It is the future of the country, and I think we need to hear as many voices as possible. So don't bother coming to check, because now I have no way of knowing who came at 1:30. But at least I can remember the faces that I saw when I first sat here. But there were so many, even at that time there were more than 70. So surely it's very, very complex. It's very complex. Yeah, when you see the Honorable Sankok, because he's been sitting there for a long time, I have sympathy with the member for Endebess. I know he was here in the morning. Member for the grandfather of the House has been quite unusually now physically present since yesterday, and he hasn't spoken. And you can see him, trotting around, having difficulties walking, but he has to wait. I think that's the spirit. This is the spirit of doing a constitution. So I want to encourage the Honorable Jimmy Angwenyi to continue, sit with the grandchildren, listen to them, then you will give them further advice next week. Honorable Sankok.
Once again, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, especially in this very important day in our calendar, in the calendar of this country, a constitutional moment. Honorable Speaker, and you are right, because at 1:30, we already had enough quorum. Honorable Speaker, and from the onset, I want to say that I do support this particular bill, and it will, I do support, Honorable Speaker, because it's very important so that we move forward together as a country. Honorable Speaker, we do have a few issues with it, but of course no document will ever be perfect. One of them is on the issue of inclusivity, Honorable Speaker. In the issue of inclusivity, Honorable Speaker, we are tending to create around 3 more positions, making it 5 positions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if we talk of our problem that bedeviling this country, which is ethnic negativity, Honorable Speaker, then we will only be able to include 5 tribes and exclude 37 other tribes, Honorable Speaker, and that one may be equated to exclusivity, not inclusivity, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, in future, if we have to amend this constitution, Honorable Speaker, we'll think of inclusivity in terms of probably having the president being a man, the deputy president being a woman, the prime minister being a person with disability, the deputy prime minister being a youth, so that we can really bring the real issue of inclusivity, because if we bring inclusivity in terms of tribes, it will end up being exclusivity, Honorable Speaker, because We have more than 42 tribes in this country. We cannot all of them have all of them being in the apex of leadership, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and why I talk of the Prime Minister, Honorable Speaker, position, I may vie in 2032 as a running mate, crawling mate to Moses Kuria, Honorable Speaker. You know I'll not run faster than him. Honorable Speaker, this issue of the winner take it all, Honorable Speaker.
What's the point of an Honorable Millie Odhiambo?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do not want to interfere with Honorable Sankok, especially because he's speaking very well about inclusivity. He's just forgotten to include the intersex. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to just seek your direction, Mr. Speaker, based on what the guidance that you have given. As a matter of fact, I didn't come in the morning, and I've not even actually put a request today. I was just interested in listening to members, because I'm under the impression that when we are dealing with a constitutional matter, so long as there is still interest, every member will speak. But your pronouncement seems to suggest otherwise. Just so that I know, Mr. Speaker, so that even if I don't get a chance to speak, then at least I go on record that I didn't get time, Mr. Speaker. I come from a human rights background, and it is important to know that if I've not got an opportunity to speak, it's because there was no time. And also, if Suba people ask me why I didn't speak, it's because I didn't have time. So perhaps if you can just give us an indication that I've not spoken, I spoke on the issue of yesterday, it was a point of order. I didn't speak substantively to the issues. So, and I do not also want to interfere with the members. I came very late today.
So what is the point, so that we don't take too much of it?
Because majority leader keeps interfering with me so that I'm not very clear on what I'm saying. Mr. Speaker, what I'd like to know, because ordinarily when we are discussing a constitutional matter, so long as members show interest, so what I would want to know is, will we continue? Maybe I missed that out. Will we continue? And that does therefore mean that we can continue to next week, because we'll not finish today.
You know, Honorable Millie Odhiambo, I know you could be having some problem because you are not, your background is human rights, not arithmetics. Now it is almost 5 p.m. Every member speaking for 15 minutes. I have 75 requests pending, 76. And I've indicated that it is my desire to see as many of you as desire to speak to this bill, speak, get a chance to speak. So I think that should suffice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Maybe, Honorable Millie, there's a problem with the mask. I can see you shaking your head. It will continue. It will continue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I think you will add me.
Yeah, I'll add you 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. You know, yesterday I was forced to speak in my mother tongue, Kimasai, in this house because, Honorable Speaker, we are now outsiders in the government that we really struggle to form, courtesy of ODM, Honorable Speaker, and the professional ODM hecklers cannot come again and heckle us down in this house, Honorable Speaker. They should give us enough time to speak, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was speaking before I was rudely interrupted on the issue of the winner, take it all, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the winner, take it all, Honorable Speaker. An election is a competitive process, Honorable Speaker. In any competition, there is always a winner and a loser, Honorable Speaker. We cannot have a competition that will not, because that will not be the democracy. And that is why in democracy, the majority will have their way and the minority will have their say. That is the spirit of democracy. In democracy, there must be a winner and there must be a loser. We cannot have an election process that will not have a winner. So I will a winner and a loser, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, at times, the winner have 40%. The losers in combined have 60%, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if you see that these are the losers, Honorable Speaker, then you will find that we cannot solve this issue of the winner take everything.
On a point of order, yeah?
Mr. Speaker, a member was speaking to you when Honorable Sankok was speaking. Mr. Speaker, this is the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. We are not in somewhere else outside there, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, some of the statements that Honorable Sankok is making here cannot be parliamentary, Mr. Speaker. Calling they're derogatory, Mr. Speaker. Calling other members here hecklers, people who have come to heckle here, ODM members here, who have come to professional hecklers of ODM who have come. Mr. Speaker, this man, Mr. Speaker, has decided to go rogue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
I withdraw, Honorable Speaker. I do withdraw. And apologize. You know, there was a time Honorable Junet called himself a cow. I did not call him so. It is not also parliamentary. So, Honorable Speaker, I have talked about that, the winner take it all, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and again, this bill will cure the issue of post-election violence, Honorable Speaker, because Kenyans are very peaceful, Honorable Speaker. They are always very peaceful, Honorable Speaker. Before and after election, we live in peace, we intermarry, we borrow sugar from each other, we farm together, we work together, we do everything together, even our ceremonies we do together, Honorable Speaker, as Kenyans. But it only happened that we have violence just after election, Honorable Speaker, after the announcement of the election results, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and we have to be genuine to ourselves. As much as we know that this bill will really cure this issue, Honorable Speaker, we have to be genuine to ourselves and know that who is the single denominator of violence, Honorable Speaker, in this country, Honorable Speaker. Who was in 1982 coup, Honorable Speaker, whose name appeared, Honorable Speaker. Who was in 1997, Honorable Speaker. Whose name appeared in 2007, Honorable Speaker. Whose name appeared in 2013 and 2017, Honorable Speaker. Because we can cure our post-election violence if we become genuine and true to ourselves, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, which name was missing in 2002 when we had a change of regime, Honorable Speaker, and it was very peaceful, Honorable Speaker, and there was no violence, Honorable Speaker, in 2002. So which is this common and single denominator of that particular violence period in Kenyan history, Honorable Speaker? And I can say without fear of contradiction that the single, you don't have to look far, the single denominator of violence went to Kibaki and shook hands and were peaceful. It means that there is a denominator of violence.
What is it?
Again, after shaking hands with Uhuru, then we have to maintain peace. There is a single denominator of violence, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
yes,
on the issue of patriotism.
What is it? What's your point of order? You see, what has happened? Give Honorable Bandi. You just which honorable member?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think we need to ensure decorum in this House, and we need to realize and understand that this is August House. Mr. Speaker, the way Honorable Sankok is progressing with this contribution is stirring emotions for nothing, is bringing issues that this country is trying to forget, is trying to insinuate that Raila Odinga is the cause of violence and problems in this country by saying that he went to Kibaki and shook hands, and now he's going to Uhuru and shaking hands. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Sankok is a beneficiary of consideration of persons with disability, courtesy of Raila Odinga. And the way he's behaving, Mr. Speaker, is causing shame to the team that is representing this country. Is a disgrace, Mr. Speaker. And I wonder why he believes that any time he attacks Raila Odinga, he raises his profile.
That is a cheap way of trying to cut an image in this house. Some of us are where we are because of constructive, meaningful, professional, intelligent contributions, Mr. Speaker. And someone who claims to have gone through the University of Nairobi and studied medicine should do much better than what you are doing, what he's doing, Mr. Speaker. I want to urge Honorable Sankok to get back to the debate of the BBI bill and contribute on behalf of the people he represents. Since he started speaking, I have not heard anything he has talked about regarding persons living with a disability. You are not nominated to this house to be a flower girl. You are supposed to represent the constituency for which you are nominated.
Now, you know, the problem is having is that too many people.
Thank you very much.
Me, I'm not able to follow.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Yeah. Honorable Speaker, just to bring you into speed, I said that Kenya had violence in 1982. I was 4 years old at that time, and there was somebody who was mentioned that time. There was violence in 1997. There was violence in 2007, 2013, 2017, and I said that we cannot wait for the hands to shook for us to be peaceful as a country. We need to instill, you know, Kalonzo Musyoka shook hands with Uhuru. Why are they, Kalonzo Musyoka did shook hands with Kibaki. Yeah, they shook hands. So I don't know why the guilty one are feeling, you know, if you are guilty, then you are guilty as charged, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of representation, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of representation, Honorable Speaker, we also need in this country, and I think Mbadi did not hear that I mentioned that the position of the Prime Minister should be left for a person with disability. And I am again saying that we should have an electoral college to elect person with disability, and I had even proposed this one in the task force, Honorable Speaker, that is like that one that is in Uganda, so that person with disability, when they come into this house as leaders, Honorable Speaker, they have representation. They have been elected by person with disability whom they represent, so that the loyalty of a member of parliament does not only lies on the party, but also lie on those whom you represent, Honorable Speaker, because currently, through nomination, Honorable Speaker, you are just loyal to the party that nominated you, Honorable Speaker. But if you have an electoral college, like what happened in Uganda, Honorable Speaker, then you are elected by those whom you represent, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill is very good, especially on the issue of patriotism, Honorable Speaker. We should actually be patriotic to our country, and our patriotism should come from within us, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would have expected that in this BBI bill, because we are fronting the issue of patriotism, Honorable Speaker, instead of us fronting the issue of BBI using some songs that is called reggae and so on, Honorable Speaker, we will have used songs like Tushangili, Kenya, Taif, something like that, Honorable Speaker, to instill some level of patriotism in us, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and there was a time that we were actually supposed to have a national dress, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, even in that one, Honorable Speaker, I think it is very important for us to be able to be patriotic, so this bill do address those issues, and I really do support that particular bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have analyzed this bill. I have read from page 1 to the last page, Honorable Speaker. And this bill, Honorable Speaker, I have not seen anywhere that will require a referendum, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, so I urge the members of this House that let us pass this bill, and I will urge the President to assent to it, it will become law. Instead of us going to a referendum, Honorable Speaker, we can do with it, and we can just start implementing it straight away, so that we can benefit from the 70 extra constituency, Honorable Speaker, so that person with disability may get the position of the Prime Minister and the youth, the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Speaker, so that we move forward as a country and cure our post-election violence and any violence that normally rob us as a country. So, Honorable Speaker, I do support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Kindly allow me to indulge in this matter without my mask shortly. And I want to thank God for allowing me to participate in this August House, in this constitutional moment. And it's a privilege, really, for Rangwe people to participate in the amendment bill that amends the Constitution of Kenya. I want to appreciate the process that this particular bill has gone through for it to come to this end. And one of the eminent persons who participated in the process of bringing this bill to the House before it came to the House is one of my constituents, Dr. Collins Odote, who is a real scholar. And by virtue of that alone, I really appreciate what is the content of this particular document. That is a member of Rangwe constituency where I represent, and I really have faith in this. From where I stand, Honorable Speaker, my party position is that I support this particular bill in its entirety. And I'm not going to do it just because I've been advised by my party. Before my party has given that advice, we have been educated on the matter of this bill. And when I'm coming here to speak, Honorable Speaker, I am speaking from a point of authority on information that I have regarding this bill. Honorable Speaker, allow me to look at certain questions that are pertinent to what has come before this bill. Sometimes in 2007, Honorable Speaker, we had a situation in this country where this country was on fire. We had a situation where people were being cut when they were moving down to Western in Naivasha. We had people who were dislodged from what they had known to be their homes for very many years, from Rift Valley, and they found themselves homes otherwise. And we had even people who were burnt in our local churches, Honorable Speaker. This is what is informing this particular debate that we have right now. So we really need to interrogate this matter with a lot of humility. We don't need populistic ideas in looking at what is in this bill, Honorable Speaker. And the persons who have talked ahead have elucidated the constitutionality of this bill. So it is in no question that there is nothing that is not constitutional in this bill. It is anchored in our current constitution, and we are making amendments to this bill, Honorable Speaker, with a clear mind that we are coming from a point as a country, and we need to move to a better point. If we do not embrace change, it is said, change is going to change us. And we are speaking on this matter as members of the August House to embrace change for posterity. A change that is going to make Kenya a better place to live in. A change that is going to amend certain articles in our constitution for the betterment of our country. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, and I know I'm on record in this country, that even before our two principals, the leaders whom we respect very much, Honorable Muigai Kenyatta, who is the President of the Republic of Kenya, and my party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, before they shook hands, I was on Nation TV pleading with these two generals that they should listen to each other, they should speak to each other, and meet at some point and put together Kenya in peace. And this is what happened later on. I didn't know it was actually going to happen, but it is an appeal that I made to our two very eminent Kenyans, and they listened to themselves, and they talked to themselves, and they put their partisan interests aside and put the interests of this nation ahead of everything. So I want to thank the Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and I also want to thank Raila Amolo Odinga, who has fought for this country, who has been in the forefront of bringing change in this country, for putting their issues aside and their interests aside to come and listen to Kenyans. Just suppose, Honorable Speaker, that when Raila Amolo Odinga was being sworn in as the people's president of this country, suppose Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta decided to go and clear everybody, Honorable Speaker, in the interest of the law, what could have happened? What could have happened to this country? But he took a back stand, and I want to appreciate His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya and his people who advised him at that particular critical moment to take a back stand and just let things go and put this country in order. So we are not talking about anything populistic in this particular critical moment of our nation, but we are interrogating matters that are going to bring peace to Kenya. We are interrogating matters. It is a give and take. There are positions where we may not get everything in this particular discussion. There are people who may have lost. There are people who may have gained. But what benefits Kenya most is what is of interest to us, Honorable Speaker. I want to look at the various places that I think I've been educated on, and on behalf of the great people of Rambu constituency, if I talk about these matters, I think it's going to benefit the progression of this particular bill, so that we take it to the people through the referendum, because this is a people's bill, and the people are going to vote yes or no for it. And the role that we have as Parliament is to do our role of letting it pass through Parliament, and then we give our ideas on it, not necessarily to change it, because this particular bill has been looked at. But Parliament would vote the bill that it should pass or it should be rejected. There are gains that have been made in this country, especially on matters governance. And this particular bill has really worked very well on, especially when we come to issues, matters gender. The bill is good on matters gender, and recently when the country has been looking for the Chief Justice, there is a proposition by the Judicial Service Commission that the Chief Justice be a woman. It is not in the woman that we are looking at the Chief Justice, but we are looking at the qualifications of a person, a Kenyan. And Kenyans went ahead to give a list of senior persons who are in the judiciary. And women, very many women, appeared in that list. I am also envisaging a situation where a time may come when, through an electoral process, we are going to have more women in Parliament than men. So when it comes to two-thirds gender rule, it is not a matter of favoring women to come to Parliament, Honorable Speaker. It is a matter of having a system in place that would guard against domination of a particular gender in a particular arm of government, be it the executive, be it the judiciary, or the legislature. So this has been covered very well in this particular proposal, in the amendment of the Constitution. When also it comes to the issue of national ethos, this is where I really want to dwell, Honorable Speaker. The problem that we have as a nation, among others, and the biggest of it all, is that as Kenyans, we do not look at what we are able to do to our country. We only want to look at what can serikali do for us, serikali's idea. But when it comes to matters that are public utilities, as Kenyans, do we take care of these public utilities? When it comes to matters of ethos, the morality of Kenyans, to take care of Kenya to put the interests of Kenya at heart, Honorable Speaker. You find that today somebody is elected to be a member of parliament, and generally probably from a very poor background. Everybody knows what a member of parliament earns, and it is just common practice and regular thinking that for the amount of money one earns, one has a possibility of committing it to a loan for their own development. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, allow me to say this. You find still politicians having a lot of money to flash around. Where does this money come from if it is not from public coffers? I appreciate people who are having side hustles to get extra money. But for the ones, Honorable Speaker, who do not have side hustles to get their own money, aren't they stealing from Kenyans? This is the dialogue that we should have at this particular point. Do we have moral principles as elected leaders in this country to help in mitigating corruption among ourselves as elected leaders? You find that today somebody is elected from a very poor background, and in about 2 or 3 years they are having several story buildings at the expense of the people whom they represent, Honorable Speaker. So as much as we are talking about some very amorphous things, I want us to reduce it to simplicity, Honorable Speaker. That do we have a system where Kenyans are responsible for the poor in their backgrounds? When it comes to economic equality, does the leadership of this country, Honorable Speaker, consider that particular person who is very poor in their neighborhood? And this is the dialogue that we are having right now. Honorable Speaker, from the proposition of the amendment of Article 11A on economy and shared prosperity that is being amended, this is being anchored with the aspiration of a new economic model that would provide equitable opportunities for all people. We want equitable opportunity for all people. We want equitable opportunity for our young people. We have a big percentage of Kenyans. Over 65% of Kenyan population is made of young people. And when it comes to economic growth, the BBI, and specifically the amendments to the Constitution that are proposed right now, are going to address this particular issue. And in so doing, Honorable Speaker, I should believe we are going to move forward as a country. When also it comes to economic model that provides equitable opportunities, when we give equitable opportunities, Honorable Speaker, then the current particular pandemic that we are going through that has created joblessness, in the long run, this is going to address issues that are going to create jobs in this country. I also want to look at the issue of application of science and technology in production systems. Honorable Speaker, science has been relegated to some kind of corner. And as much as we have innovations in science, how much do we add in our national budget to do scientific investigations? So there are many items that are in this particular bill that are good for this country. And even as I finish up, one of my colleagues ahead had spoken of removing power of a commission to an individual. The office is as good as the individual who serves in that office. And we are not removing powers from a commission to an individual. We are moving powers from a commission to an office. And for the work of that office to function, it requires the integrity of an individual. And it is matters of integrity that we are addressing as an issue in this country at this moment. So I'm supporting this particular bill, and I know it is for this country, and it is in my party.
Member for Machoge Borabu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it's been a long day waiting to be given this opportunity to speak. But I want to say that it has also been a good opportunity for me to listen to many members contribute to the amendment bill with diverse viewpoints. Honorable Speaker, I want to begin by saying that I'm so happy for this particular occasion that as a nation we have come together through the initiative of the leadership of this country to begin engaging in a process where we can look back and say, here we have gone wrong, here we have done well, we can proceed. So, Speaker, I want to say that the bill before us has been constituted through a process that has engaged more or less the whole Kenyan community. I know that there has been a good purpose for this bill. The Speaker, many of us have already ruled to the situation we find ourselves as a country every after election. But I want to say that the bill that is to be amended goes beyond the point of election. It talks about what else happens between elections that has drawn this country to a state of hopelessness. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that it has been a good opportunity for the leadership of this country to provide this particular narrative for Kenyans to begin engaging, for Kenyans to begin propping themselves with the kind of differences that I'm seeing in the House. Which opportunity, Mr. Speaker, can then help to reshape this country? The change Kenya is looking for cannot come from one thinking. It can come from the diverse viewpoints that we are witnessing in this August House. I want to say that as much as others may look like they are opposing the bill, I think all that they need to understand is that there are various pathways to bring about the change Kenya is looking for. This is one of the pathways, and there is no single pathway, Mr. Speaker, that can be a smooth flow. There will always be bumps, there will always be hurdles. But I want to say that to this particular point, that as a nation, the fact that we have begun to engage on our differences, to me, is a good opportunity. We may not repackage all the challenges that we have, but I think it's a good opportunity, and as we move forward, we expect that as we unfold one opportunity, there are challenges which can be addressed. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the bill before us for amendment addresses a number of critical issues that many of us have gone through in our lives. When you look at the distribution of resources in this country, my big question has been, why do we tend to ignore the numbers that need to be supported by the resources? This particular bill has addressed that through the creation of constituencies, and many people are wondering whether this is going to create a huge wage bill. But I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that the amendment comes with a package of other measures that will enable this country to grow its wealth. We have a number of proposals under the economic models that, if really implemented, will see this country prosper. We also have a number of opportunities that have been opened up for the youth, for instance. These opportunities are also supposed to contribute to the wealth of this country. So as much as we may be looking at the wage bill that comes from this new amendment, let us also look at the service that the amendment is going to create in this nation. The clause on public corruption in itself, if well implemented and works out well, I'm very sure, Mr. Speaker, that this country will recover a lot of resources that have been lost before between the election periods. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the damages and the costs and the inconveniences and the economic delays that come after post-election, if this bill, as it has been already presented, opens a space for leadership, I think the number of recoveries will be enormous. So, Speaker, I want to say that this bill also brings to this country a window of opportunity at the grassroots level, not only in engagement, but also in bringing in more resources at the county, at the ward level. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this indeed is an opportunity of distributing the Kenya nation resources. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this bill and also encourage my colleagues to look forward and see this as one window that can enable this country to move a step forward. For change cannot be expected to come once. Change is a process. We are in a process of bringing about change in this Kenya, and we must move even when there are hurdles. So, Speaker, I want to say that I support this bill. Thank you.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye Quickbit ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitazama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353. Alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye Quickbit ni bila bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini. Banki imeconfirm, pesa zimeingia. Congratulations son, gari ni lako sasa. Shukran. Hey boss, simeche insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange. Insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine. Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance inakava vitu gani? Comprehensive motor insurance inakava gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia inakava passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali. Yaani umenisahau mimi kama driver. Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover. Umenichanua. Yes. Acha nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho. Okay, sawa. Yeah.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA. IRA, bima bora kwa taifa.
Nobody. chop the man. First you gonna make come learn some sense. You and the fake that's consequence. You and the lazy ass that's different. Baby, everyone wanna chop the man. First you gonna make come learn some sense. You and your fake ass that's different. You and the lazy ass that's different. Nobody, when they don't talk about you, nobody. You be nobody, when they don't talk about you, nobody. Nobody, you be nobody. When they don't talk about you, nobody. You're nobody, you be nobody. Don't talk about you. Nobody talk about you, means that they don't know you. If them not gossip about you, they know see like around you. If when the millions know you, then you day inside the shade you. You know the damn way the money. So mama me no weave people. You got the music mama me no tamarindo. Cause she the do the single, and I just wanna mingle. Can't me the one, no can't tell my Kilo ni Moscow, lifetime of Moscow. Get your mother know, for the dying good. I'm busy going Moscow, cause that's a one and so. So, toka, have you over, my soul. You can piss upon me, to tell you to. Oh, God, if I'm a black and call it, God, I'm in the you need a landa, my boy, I got to Taka mali na the for the high, sababu kwenda mbali na mbinguni na tumali. Taka mali na the luna toka laso. Yuna nini tena no mo kai bado ni kona. Yes, I know, the reason yes, I know, I'm a water keeper, I'm when you hella keeper. Someone I'm not telling now. One on the CD kitten, one I can watch him protect. She's awake to chicken, I'll have a mess of her. Believe I wish I could think, cause me I want to catch. Cause I could do my best, I was a candidate. I tried to tackle man, I could only catch. I found a mama said, don't you want one more, be a one of us. Lean it in the love, listen to cool back. One more, be a one of us. Look at the apples, put your knees around. Taka mali na the music for the high. Sababu kwenda mbali na mbinguni na tumali. Taka mali na the luna toka laso. Yuna nini tena no mo kai bado ni kona. Yes, I know.